I hope everyone's enjoying their lunch. Again, thanks to Taco Palenque. Passion, persuasion, and a whole lot of patience. That is our next topic. Our next speaker is the founder of Welcome Home Rio Grande Valley, which has become the go-to source for information, events, and resources for Winter Texans. She is known as the Winter Texan expert, and over the last 14 years, Welcome Home has grown to fit the changing needs of the Winter Texans and the businesses that serve them. Help me welcome Christy Collier.
Oh, great. Thank you. Hi. How's everybody doing? My name is Christy Collier, and I'm from Welcome Home RGV. I don't know, some of you may have been around long enough to remember the Pete Larima commercials, the owner, manager, janitor, okay? That's pretty much me with Welcome Home RGV. A little bit about me, I'm a McAllen native. I'm from McAllen originally. My grandparents were from Donna, my daddy from Ed Couch Elsa, and my husband is also from McAllen. We're McAllen Memorial graduates. I'm a third generation entrepreneur, which I think is really special. It's just in my blood, and I really do believe that connecting people is my superpower. It's just one of those things that I do. I could be a matchmaker. I connect business with opportunities. I connect people with volunteer opportunities, and that's just one of my most favorite things to do. I started Welcome Home RGV 15 years ago in 2008, and it was really by complete and total accident. I don't know how many of you remember 2008, but that wasn't a really great time. And I was laid off from my real job. I worked for a real estate title company, and you remember the real estate market really wasn't doing so hot in 2008, and so I was in marketing and I was let go. It was at that moment, that defining moment, my daughter was, I believe, in second grade at the time, and I had missed field trips. I had missed muffins with mom. I had missed all sorts of opportunities, and I was bound and determined to make a change in my life so that I could have the flexibility to spend time with my family and work at my own pace. Which I find really funny now that I used to hate having to punch in and punch out from 8 to 5. Because now I'm at the office at 7 a.m. and sometimes I don't leave until 7 p.m. So, but it does make a difference when you love what you do and when you love who you do it for and with. So, I love to travel. I just got back from a 2-week vacation, my first ever 2-week vacation. My husband, my daughter, and her boyfriend and I, we went to Italy, and it was fabulous. But the whole time, my laptop was in my suitcase, which was a first for me. So it wasn't wrapped around a work trip or anything like that. And I just ask you to please don't wait 52 years to do that if you have the opportunity, okay? And certainly it is important as you are in business, and especially if you are owning your own business, there are so many things to think about on the daily. It's really nice to go and unplug and come back refreshed, recharged, with a new sense of purpose, and a whole lot of paperwork. I'm fluent in Winter Texan. We have a language of our own, and so there's so many similarities, but yet so many differences. Our people come from the Midwest in Canada, and there is a different culture involved in dealing with our Winter Texan community. So I am fluent. A little bit about Welcome Home RGV, and I'm going to kind of go off script, if that's okay, because I was listening to the presenter before, and after reviewing your agenda, I want you to walk away with some really great tips and tricks and, things that you may have heard earlier or you may hear later, but know that they're important, okay? So about Welcome Home, we are the trusted source for area information for Winter Texans. In 2008, like I said, I was laid off from my real job, and I was looking for a way to market my little side business to the Winter Texan community. I don't know if any of you remember the Saving Spree coupon books. That was my business, and who loves coupons more than Winter Texans, right? So it was in October, and they were right about to make their journey to South Texas, and I didn't have any money. You know, I was laid off. Any money that I had to go to pay for groceries and things like that, so I didn't have a marketing budget. So I hit the streets and went door to door, basically, to RV parks and campgrounds and retirement communities to introduce myself, of course, and ask them to help me promote our little coupon book sales. And it's really quite incredible when I think about it, how we started. And every time I would tell a friend that I was going to an RV park, they'd say, "Hey, can you take my stuff too?" And I'd say, "Sure, if you can fill up my tank with gas, I can do that." And one friend turned into two friends, and two friends turned into four, and it just kind of multiplied. And that's really how it started. I was also keenly aware of other things out there, magazines and websites that catered to Winter Texans, and I saw in the corner of an RV park a magazine for Winter Texans, and it was really junk. You know what I'm talking about? The publications that you see here, there, and everywhere that just really don't make any sense. And then there was another website that I found that really wasn't very good, and I thought, this is a disservice to the people who spent their money on advertising, okay? And I made it my mission to support small business owners throughout the community and help them spread their message the right way, okay? Effectively and affordably, because at the end of the day, I'm a small business owner too. I wanted my customers to know that they could trust me with their hard-earned money. And so that's kind of how it all happened. I didn't know anything about publishing a magazine or creating a website, but I thought, I know I can do better than that, okay? And that's how it started. And I'll tell you another little funny story. I was telling a friend of mine, yes, I'm going to put together a magazine, directory of services for Winter Texans. And she said, great, how much is a half-page ad? I said, $500. I didn't know. I said, $500. She wrote me a check. I needed the money, deposited it, and away we go. So that's how we started. Over the last 15 years, our programs and services have grown. And I think a lot of it is because, again, I'm always mindful of opportunities that present themselves. And I think as entrepreneurs, sometimes it's hard because you're so focused on the task at hand or doing what you need to be doing that you lose sight of the opportunities that literally come at you all day long, day in and day out. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. I'm not saying take advantage of every opportunity that comes knocking, but you have to be aware of ways to grow. And with Winter Texans, you can imagine they're here 6 months out of the year, and they're gone for 6 months out of the year. So I was very curious about diversification, okay? Ways that we could continue to make money along the same lines, but diversified. So I'll kind of talk about a little bit about our outreach programs and the ways that we have done that so that you can see what I'm talking about as far as keeping your eyes open for opportunities. Is this good? Or is everybody? Okay, good. Just making sure. So what we do, and this is just a little bit of what we do. We do our Winter Texan Living. That's the annual magazine that I talked about. We do an RGV map and area guide. We purchased the Winter Texan Expo in 2014, I believe. We have several other small trade shows and things of that nature. But when we bought the Winter Texan Expo, it created a unique opportunity because we started with an annual product, but our advertisers loved what we did so much that they wanted more, okay? And when you do an annual publication, well, once it's done, you have a whole another year to wait. So we quickly went to a monthly publication, and then when we purchased the Winter Texan Expo, and this is another one of those life lessons, I tried to advertise something else in one of my competitors' products, and he declined. He didn't want to support what we were doing, okay? And I thought, I just bought this Winter Texan Expo. How am I going to advertise that to the Winter Texans that we serve and get the frequency that I need next year? And then I thought to myself, well, we already publish a monthly newspaper. How hard could it be to do it once a week? Ignorance is bliss sometimes. So I talked to my team, and we all agreed that we wanted to be the community leader when it comes to Winter Texan news and information. And so that very next year, we had our first Winter Texan Expo under our ownership, and we also published 22 weekly newspapers, which was a lot of fun that first year. We're entering our 9th season publishing our newspaper. So that's just a little bit about how we've diversified, okay? We have events and we have print products, but that's not all we do. I think one of the reasons that we're successful is because we're involved in the community that we serve, okay? My time is mostly spent being with my people. And when I say being with my people, it's being with my Winter Texans. I speak at park meetings, I go to happy hours, I do a little line dancing, you know. We're very in tune with the needs of our Winter Texans, and we have a whole lot of fun doing it. I will say I started this business on my dining room table, okay? I now have about 4,000 square feet of office space, okay? We have over 20 people that work with us, okay? One full-time person, salaried, and then the rest of everybody is more than part-time, but not full-time. So I hire, and this is another thing, as your business grows, you have to think about delegation, okay? I've learned that delegating is my most favorite thing to do. Okay? Taking stuff off your plate. But with delegation comes trust. And I think the attorney that spoke before me kind of touched on this, in that you have to be able to let it go. And you have to trust in your team, but in order to do so, you need to make sure that you have the right team. Okay? Just because someone's really great at something doesn't mean they're really great at something else. Or just because you like them personally doesn't necessarily mean they share the same values or work ethic that you do. Pardon me. I will say I started this business by myself on my dining room table, added a part-time employee who had just had a baby, and she brought her baby to work. The baby's now 15, crazy. And at one point in time, and the attorney that spoke, where is she? I hope she's still here because I'm giving her major props. I had someone who was helping me with my books. She was the bad cop, I was the good cop. We were lifelong friends, and I didn't have a lot of money because we were building the business, so I gave her a percentage of ownership. Bad idea, okay? I prefer to work alone. I don't like partnerships. And, you know, it wasn't 50-50, it was 13%, but you would have thought that that 13% was 75%, okay? And communication is so important, not only externally, but internally, okay? And we had very different ideas of how things were should go down, and we had a business divorce, and I've never been divorced, but a business divorce I would imagine is very much like when you divorce a spouse, because you're splitting things, you're splitting friends, people take sides, and it's just a horrible thing to do. So if you haven't yet started a business, really think about how you want to structure it, because that is such an important part of your day-to-day. It got to the point where if her car was there before I got there, I just dreaded walking through the front door. And if you're an entrepreneur, you just can't have that. You have to have, it's your happy place. So, okay, this is a little bit about what we do. We have a lot of different events. We took over this entertainer showcase. We do all of these things, but I'll talk about two that I think are really fun. Again, this is about seizing opportunity and diversification. About 8 years ago, Chuck Olson from Chuck Olson Tours and Cruises, I don't know if you remember him, but he's now retired. It was his idea, and I thought it was horrible. He wanted to do a cruise with Christy because, you know, I am kind of a celebrity in the Winter Texan world. You may not know that, but you know it now. And I thought, that is the most ridiculous idea I have ever heard in my life. Who is going to want to pay good money to go on a cruise with me? I promise I'm not that fun. Just ask my husband. And 84 people wanted to go on a cruise with me the first year. The second year, 120 people wanted to go on a cruise with me. And at that point in time, we had spread the love. We worked with Chuck the first year, and the second year we worked with a different travel agent. And this is a really important lesson too, is the only people making money were the travel agents. They sold it to me as it's a free cruise and you're going to have so much fun and it'll build your brand and all of these things, which was true. But at the end of the day, it cost me a lot because they were selling my brand. Okay? I didn't have control over how his receptionist or how his agents were treating my customers. Okay? So I had a dear friend, also a McAllen Memorial grad. She is older than I am. Had been a travel agent for 20 years. I pulled her out of retirement, and Travel by Welcome Home was born. And so we're about to go on our 7th or 8th cruise, and in February, we are taking over 300 Winter Texans on a cruise out of Galveston, 6 motor coaches. That's huge, huge. And I'm from the Valley. I love it here. I hope you do too. And Winter Texans are such an important part of our culture, okay? They have become a part of who we are, and we are a part of who they are. They love coming to Texas, but we've got to sell Texas before they decide to go to Florida or Arizona, right? And Texas, because yes, you're in Texas, but you've still got 12 hours to go before you get to see us, right? So we have to really sell Texas, and we have to sell the Valley. And part of the experience is the ability to go on travel like cruises out of Galveston during the winter. So it just kind of is all part of a bigger picture. And again, you have to be able to see at a 50,000 square feet height, you know, what your purpose is, what you do supports the economic engine of the Rio Grande Valley too. So that's kind of fun. Another thing that I'm really proud of, and it's going on now, and again, it's because I've immersed myself with the Winter Texans that we serve, and I went to dinner. This is kind of a funny story. I can go on forever, too, so someone's going to have to tell me when to stop. But my daughter, she was in 5th grade, and I said, baby, you're going to have to go to work with me today. And she goes, ugh, we're going to have to go hang out with your old people? And I said, yes, but it was April or May. I said, so it was late in the season. I said, but we're going to go to IHOP because they have dinner. And she said, but it's 3:30. And I said, I know, they have dinner early. And so my daughter went with me, and she's as cute as a button, blonde hair, blue eyes, pigtails, the whole 9 yards. I said, just bring your backpack, go in the corner. And one of the Winter Texans said, because remember, they're grandmas and grandpas who haven't seen their grandkids in a long time, can I buy her a hot fudge sundae? And I said, absolutely. So my daughter, when we were getting back in the car, said, Mama, can I go back to work with you tomorrow? I thought that was really cute. But it made me realize that they don't all leave in March. Okay, there's still people in our retirement communities, mobile home parks, RV parks throughout the year. And that same day, one of our guests went to request a table, and the hostess said, we love Winter Texans. And man, this lady said, I am not a Winter Texan. I live here. Interesting, right? So we have a whole community of people that have been Winter Texans in the past, but now they have embraced our area and become what I call converted Texans, okay? And so we have a converted Texan corral in April, where we make them raise their right hand and pledge allegiance to all things Texan. I try to get them to, become Texas Longhorn fans. Sorry, Aggies, but it doesn't always work. But we really give them a sense of identification, okay? And it's a lot of fun. And so all summer long, I thought, we're going to do, and this is kind of one of those tests in, is it going to work or is it not? Okay, I had this great idea to do a summer supper club where we pick a different restaurant throughout the valley every week and just go have dinner. Dutch treat, but we're gathering together, and I sold it to all of these restaurants for the summer that I was going to bring crowds of people. Okay, I'm going to bring tons of people to your restaurant from 3 to 5. So a win for the restaurants because it's after the lunch rush, before the dinner crowd, right? And so the first week, there were 5 of us, myself, 2 people who work for me, one of my volunteers, and her husband. And I thought, oh, dear, this is really bad. This is not going to work. Well, the next week, we had 40. The next week, we had 80. We are averaging about 100 people a week at a different restaurant throughout the Rio Grande Valley. And we don't get paid for that. We're just supporting our restaurant partners, okay, to show them that we value their business, okay? We don't get anything out of it financially, but we do, okay? So there are certain things as an entrepreneur that you're going to have to do that probably you're like irritated because it's not making you any money. But at the end of the day, it's the indirect money that will come your way because of what you do. Okay, so you can't always look at it like, I'm not making any money at this, because overall, you probably are. It's a testament to how you work and your work ethic. So really kind of fun. They're having a lot of fun with it. And I kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with that. But, oh, we don't financially gain from the Summer Supper Club, but the one thing that it keeps us is relevant. And there's so much importance on staying relevant. So if you're a seasonal business, okay, you can't just close up shop and wait until, September, October to roll around. You have to stay relevant. You have to, at the end of the day, my goal is for every winter Texan that comes to South Texas, I want them to go through that conversion process and become converted Texans. Why? Because we all win when that happens. They're spending more money while they're here. They're keeping that economic engine rolling for the small business and for big business. They are great customers too. They're more loyal customers. So that's why we do that. We're already planting seeds through our summer work that, hey, maybe I can stay a little longer next year because the fun doesn't end just because the winter Texans leave to go back to Minnesota, okay? Okay, we do a whole lot more. We do digital marketing, we do digital display, we have TV screens in 40 RV parks where we advertise local business and things like that. Travel by Welcome Home, I told you about, we do cruises. This past year, we introduced tours by Welcome Home, okay? Because some people, and it blows my mind that so many of our winter Texans have never cruised before, okay? We're talking about 80-year-olds. Thought maybe that they had cruised before. But there are so many people that are hesitant to book a cruise because they've never been before, or they want that comfort of knowing that they're going to be taken care of. And so we also, I know the Valley has so much to offer. And winter Texans, they're different. I live in McAllen. I don't always come to Weslaco. Well, that's a bad example because I'm all over the Valley. But if you live in Mission, you may not always go to McAllen, or you may not know about the things that are next door. But let me tell you, ask a winter Texan what there is to do at any place in the Valley, and they'll tell you why. They don't know city limit signs. They're adventurous. They want to go, okay? And so they also like to travel in packs. Okay? You never see one winter Texan or two unless it's the doctor's office, right? They're always in a group. So we are marketing tours to keep them spending money all over. So we're bringing people from Brownsville to Mission, Mission to Brownsville, Harlingen to South Padre, okay? San Benito to McAllen for a wide variety of different things so that they're helping each one of our communities. And I work regionally, and I believe that we all should have that regional mentality that what helps one helps the other. And so we did 82 local tours last season, being our first season. It's crazy, crazy. We also have a promotional product division, so cups, mugs, t-shirts, all of that. We have a division for that. Why? Because I have all of these customers who need an expo booth for my show, and they need all that crap to give to all of my people, okay? So it was just a really natural fit to bring that into the fold, and they've got to get it somewhere. We already have a great working relationship with our customers. They might as well get it from us, okay? That goes into that diversification, okay, which really came in handy because I know, the first thing people do is they halt advertising, right? When they don't know, the pandemic years were terrible, but we had other avenues of making money, because everybody needed masks, they needed signage, they needed banners, they needed all of these things for the pandemic. And so if it hadn't have been for the foresight of knowing that we needed to diversify, I might not be here today in the same capacity. So that's really important. One of our pandemic projects was we started a real estate company, okay, that specializes in 55 plus. So we sell manufactured homes and we sell real property. And that is really exciting because, again, we can control the narrative on what there is to do in South Texas when people are looking to buy or sell their homes. We can protect the integrity of our RV parks and our retirement communities by serving the customer. You know, a lot of times what will happen is, one of our Winter Texans might pass away and the kids just want to liquidate everything, get rid of it, okay? I've seen a number of our parks go from that 55 plus to family parks, which there's nothing wrong with that. There's a need for that too. But all of a sudden, it just shrinkens the number of Winter Texans that might be coming to our area. So the real estate side of it is we have 5 agents who work with us, and we know the market. They trust us. We already have the relationship, so that's really kind of fun. So this is how it went down. I was laid off from my real job in 2007. Welcome Home RGV was officially born in 2008. We just celebrated 15 years. It's mind-boggling when I think about it. We started our monthly newsletter in 2015. Well, it was 2014, really, when we bought the Winter Texan Expo, but our first one was 2015. 2017, we started the cruise, the travel division, promotional products. In 2020 to 2023, that's when we bought Compass Publishing, which had some different products, the maps and stuff. We formed the real estate division, the tour division, and we purchased the entertainer showcase. So that kind of gives you the timeline, because I don't want to overwhelm you. We certainly didn't go from 1 to 100 within a few months. And it was a lot of hard work and a lot of teamwork. I have an incredible team. And when you think about hiring staff, I highly recommend you being flexible on your time and think about hiring moms, okay? My team is comprised of moms that are at the office at 8 o'clock, but they're out the door at 2:45 sharp, okay? Why? They got to go pick up kids. Our business is seasonal, so the summers are kind of light. Holidays, we close. We have early deadlines and things like that so that they can be home with their kids and their family. But let me tell you, a mom who knows that she has to be at kid pickup by 3 o'clock can get more done in 5 hours than some of your full-time employees. Just going on record. That's my little suggestion there. Just so you know, there are about 178 retirement communities that we work with. Approximately 100,000 Winter Texans come to South Texas every year, and the service area that I work is from Panitas, Rio Grande City, all the way to the island. I'm going to kind of skip over some of this. We did an economic impact study, and it's estimated that Winter Texans bring $1.2 billion with a B dollars to our area every year. So as you think about what kind of business you want to start, think about Winter Texans. How might they be able to support you? Because it's a really nice influx of cash in a short window. Just some of this. How do they identify? 74% as Winter Texans, 26% as converted Texans. I will not stop until that number is higher on the converted side. I think we've already talked about this. South Padre Island is a huge draw for our Winter Texan retirees. They love the ability to come down to the beach, and typically you'll see them in March or in December, January. Their whole family comes to visit Grandma and Grandpa. Why? Because it's cold up north. Just some more stats, and I'd be happy to share these slides with you, and it all starts with a visit. Another thing, as you start your business, just be mindful that instruct your staff to show respect to our Winter Texans that visit. They get offended when people speak Spanish in their presence only because they think that they're talking about them. Okay? So just be mindful of that. Yeah, the total economic impact, the $1.2 billion generates over 10,000 jobs. Okay, so, and I'm talking about this because I think it's important that you realize that as an entrepreneur, as a small business owner, you too are impacting the economic engine that fuels South Texas. There's a reason why we did better than so many other areas during the pandemic. Okay? It's because we work together, we support each other. We are a team when it comes to all of us doing business together here in South Texas. I'm kind of going to go off script because last night I was thinking about all of you guys and thinking about what I wish that I had known, okay, before, during, and after 15 years. And I've kind of talked about a lot of this, but I think that some of these things are really important, that you find a mentor, okay? Find someone you trust who you can ask questions on. Maybe they come from a totally different working background, but another small business owner that you know that's been in business. Find a mentor and ask them questions, and don't be afraid to. But also know when it's time for you to become the mentor. Okay, if you've been in business for a while, find someone who maybe could use a little help. So it's that whole pay it forward. I wish someone would have told me that I'll never work harder for negative money sometimes. When you own your own business, sometimes you don't make money, and you have to prepare for that. So I highly encourage you to start a rainy day fund now. Okay? Start putting a percentage of your profit away for a rainy day just in case something like COVID-19 were to happen again. Okay? Always do the right thing for the right reason. Okay? It's called integrity, and you need to have it. Okay? We always do the right thing for the right reason. And sometimes it doesn't make everybody happy, and it's okay. If you know in your heart that you're doing the right thing for the right reason, you can't be wrong. Okay? You might upset a few people, but that's okay. Be okay with making mistakes. Sometimes you're going to try something and it's going to fail, and that's okay, but you didn't know. You wouldn't have known if you hadn't tried. And this is a couple of funny stories. Sometimes you're too in it. You need outside eyeballs looking at some of the things that you do. Okay? That is really important. We had to reprint 25,000 newspapers because they were to be used as event programs, and we got the date wrong on the cover. So we had to reprint 25,000 copies. So always keep fresh eyes on things. And make sure that you have people who are outside of your working world. The next thing is proof and proof again. Okay. Funny story. Our second cruise, we thought it would be fun to do T-shirts for all of our attendees, and kind of like a concert T-shirt where they have all the different locations and things like that. We put the cruise itinerary on the back of the T-shirt. And one of my Winter Texans called me laughing hysterically This was the day we were leaving, and she said, "I didn't know we were going to the Grand Canyon." It's supposed to say Grand Cayman. You can't cruise to the Grand Canyon. Uh-oh is right. We laughed it off. I had Winter Texans having me autograph their T-shirts because they were going to be collector's items one of these days. But again, our graphic designer wasn't thinking Grand Canyon. We all looked at it, and it wasn't until someone wore it that they just thought that was funny. So just proof, and proof again. Another thing is, don't for a second think that starting your own business is going to be easy. Okay? It's a lot of work, but it's the most fulfilling thing you will probably ever do in your life. Okay? But don't think that you can walk away and let the staff run it for you. You have to keep a pulse on your business and in your business. Write things down. I'm very guilty of this, talking about marketing plans and business plans and all of that. Oh, it's all up in my head. No, it helps so much when you just write it down. And don't worry about making it look pretty. Just write it down and then edit it. And then edit it again. And it's not something that you do once either. You do repeatedly because things change. Never assume people know what you do. Okay? My cousin was about to book a cruise online. I said, "Are you crazy? That's what we do. We do that. Let us do that for you." And, I didn't think about that. Oh my God. Never assume that people know what you do. Never stop learning. I'm so excited for you guys because today is the first step in a lifetime of educational opportunities for you. And joining the chamber is one of those things that I think I've been a proud member for 14, 15 years. You get out of it what you put into it. Okay? And so I encourage you to take advantage of all of the opportunities that are available to you, many at no cost. I already said, back up your team and have their back. And if you ask someone to do something and they don't do it the way that you wanted it done, accept it. Okay? But a trick I've learned, if I want someone to do a spreadsheet or something like that, I lay out the spreadsheet and send it to them and say, "Can you complete this for me?" If there's certain things that I like done a certain way, I start it and then pass it off. Learn how to say no. I learned this at a conference, again, back to the education, and I thought it was so dumb. This lady was going on and on about learn how to say no, blah, blah, blah. Practice it in front of the mirror, blah, blah, blah. And then I did. I'd really love to, but I can't. Practice that so that when you're asked to do something that is going to suck up your time or that you don't want to do, it rolls off the tongue easily. Okay? So if you ever ask me to do something and I say I'd really love to, but I can't, it means I'm running away. I don't want to do it. But it is important to be able to learn how to say no, and especially, once you get established in business, people are going to think you're doing so great, and they're going to ask you for door prizes or this or that, and all of these things. It's okay to say no. This has been a hard year. Maybe I can't do that. Get on LinkedIn. Okay, and I'm going to fast forward. That's a QR code that's got my contact information. Connect with me on LinkedIn. See what we're doing, and copy it. It's really important. It's a slower process. It's not like Facebook. You don't get like 1 million likes when you do something. Not that that happens to me on Facebook either, but it's a very different message. It's a more professional message, and I encourage you to not be afraid of it. Just do it. There are a lot of people out there that are watching and looking, and there's a lot of really great content, industry related, that you might be able to get some ideas on. So that's kind of fun. Okay, I've got about 4 minutes left, and I'm going to leave you with this story. 2 stories, so I'll be quick. The power of the thank you note. Okay? I remember I was 13, 14 years old, and I went to my grandmother's house, and there was this wedding invitation on her refrigerator that was like 4 years old. And I asked her, it was there for like a long time. And I asked her, why is this wedding invitation on your refrigerator? And you know what my grandmother's response was? I'm waiting for my thank you note. If that didn't put the fear of God into me, I am all about the thank you note, because I don't want any one of my invitations on anyone's refrigerators. Okay? A thank you note, especially handwritten, goes a long way. Or at least acknowledge if someone does something nice for you. Because if you don't, they're not going to do it again. My cousin, the same one that wanted to book the cruise online, they got married, sent a present. They had a baby, sent a present. I don't know if they got it or not. Okay? We need to be more respectful of the people in our lives to say at least thank you. Whether it be in person, a phone call, even a text would have worked. And something very interesting happened to me on Monday, and I went to lunch with one of my RV parks. They own 2 parks here, and the ownership came down for a site visit. And she called me and said, hey, you want to go? I'd love to take you to lunch and just get caught up, because there's some things that are concerning to the RV parks, like service animals and different things along those lines. And she wanted to bounce this idea off me on what they want to do. And I said, sure. And so I met her for lunch, and it really moved me. She gave me a thank you card. She's my customer. Okay? She buys from me. She gave me a thank you card with a $500 Visa gift card. And she said, thank you so much for what you do for our industry and for our park and for the Winter Texans that we serve. You matter. Okay? $500 gift card from someone I sell advertising to. That's the power of doing the right thing for the right reason, having the passion behind it, loving every minute of what you do. Even when you hate the job, it's still fun. Like, accounting is not my thing. Okay, I don't love spreadsheets, but even when I'm doing them, it's fun because it's all part of the bigger picture. And so I hope I have inspired you today. It's a journey. There are uphills and there are downhills, but we're all in this together. So if there's anything I can ever help you with, please do not hesitate. Reach out. CJ's got my number, and I hope to see you at another chamber event soon. Thank you.
You have time to take some questions? So what we're going to do is we're going to give a few minutes. If anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. Jasmine has a microphone. She'll walk up to you. Please take this opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. We'll give you a couple of minutes. Don't be shy. Come on, somebody. Or comments, anything that inspired you, something that wowed you, anything, some numbers. There's some numbers up there that are pretty shocking. No? There's one. All right, there we go. Here you go.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The question was, do we do pop-up markets for our clients? And the answer is yes and no. Depending on the nature of your business, I work with 178 RV parks, and a lot of times they'll have like an in-park expo or an opportunity, and we love to pass that on. Sometimes we have vendor booth availability at our shows. That's for a fee, but a lot of times if you have a business or a restaurant that's right around the corner from the RV park next door, please, I encourage you, go reach out to the manager or the activity director because they want to support your business, okay? And I think that speaks volumes. Like if you had a restaurant, I would give them gift cards or coupons. A lot of the parks have bulletin boards where you can just go put your business card up. So I hope that answered your question. And a little fun fact. There's something for everyone in South Texas, okay? We have RV parks of all different shapes and sizes and things like that. And we even have 2, not 1, but 2 nudist resorts. And if you have never seen a naked man, 70-year-old, playing tennis, you're missing an opportunity. So, are there any other questions? Okay. I will, one more little tidbit, ask questions wherever you are. Be curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, so just be curious in everything that you do, and you'll do well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Collier. All right. So no need to adjust your eyesight. It's not the same MC as before. My name is David Gutierrez. I'm going to be taking over this afternoon. I apologize for the downgrade, but the previous MC had to step away, so apologies for that. Right now, what you should be looking at, you should have received white raffle tickets. If you do not have one, please raise your hand. We're going to get you one. We're going to ask that you please place your, let me read this so I don't get this wrong. Your name, number on the back of the ticket. Your full name? Full name? Full name? Full name? I'm saying full name. I'm thinking full name. Yes, full name and your phone number. Keep your hands up if you don't have it. Because our next presenter, Texas National Bank, has a door prize that's going to be, or a raffle prize that's going to be given away based on these tickets. So make sure that you have the correct information. Also, as you're doing that, I spoke to Taco P in the back. They have plenty of food. If any of you have gone through that first phase of food and you still feel a little empty inside, please step to the back, get yourself a second portion. There's plenty to go around. Feel free to get some. We still got some refreshments in the back, Cokes, Dr. Peppers. If you need to get that into you, get you rehydrated for this afternoon, please do so. And as they're doing that, let me go ahead and introduce the speakers that are coming up from Texas National Bank. We've got Ray Garcia, Executive Vice President, Strategic Growth Officer. Gloria Rios, Senior Vice President, Commercial Lender. And Mr. Hector Sanchez, Assistant Vice President, Branch Manager. So please, if you have a chance, put your hands together and let's welcome Texas National Bank. Yes, yes. All right, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Thank you. Hi.
Yes, sir.
We get started? Yes. Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for having us here today. It's funny, I was just hearing Christy about her story, and funny story. So I have a cousin of mine that started working for UPS and had quite a surprise when he showed up to one of the nudist locations the first time. So I thought that was just that just refreshed my memory there. But so thank you so much for having us today. Like I said, again, we represent Texas National Bank. And, first of all, I want to really just commend all of y'all for being here today. Again, we've mentioned this before. Christy mentioned this herself. If you look at small businesses and what they do to our country, they're really kind of the bread and butter, right? And they definitely are the local, the local engine to support our local economy. And so I really want to thank you for being here today. And it sounds like you've already had kind of a quick overview of several of the steps in terms of ensuring that you put yourself and your business for success, from establishing the right legal structures, ensuring that you have the right effective plan. So I think you've taken some meaningful steps already. Our part of the presentation is just talk a little bit about banking. I think if I had to take maybe a quick poll, if I asked how many people have a doctor, like a personal doctor, right? And maybe you have your veterinarian, and maybe you have your guy that your handy guy, right? And like that, I think it's important to also have a personal banker to take care of your needs and the financing needs of your business. I think financing and leverage is what's going to help your business grow and be able to support the working capital needs that you're going to have. So that's what I want to talk about today. And so I guess do it really quick, just with introductions. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. So as y'all can see, we are delivering as a team today, and we're so happy to be here. I want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity. But as Ray said, this is something that allows us to be able to give back to you all as business owners, and there's nothing more that rewarding for us than to be able to do that. I'm at your local Mission to Texas National Bank. I'm the branch manager there. I've been in banking for over 16 years, but I'm very happy to be here, and I'm also a proud director for your Mission Chamber. So I'm also here to support you in anything that you need. My name's Hector Sanchez, and I'm looking forward to this presentation. We also brought today our Senior Vice President, Gloria Rios. She's our lender. I'll let her introduce herself.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm the lender there at the Mission Branch, and I've been in banking for 25 plus years. So pretty much I've seen all types of loans, and we don't turn anybody away, whether it be a small loan or a large loan. And we are a community bank, so we make exceptions if there needs to be. And our board is local, so we meet every Wednesday, and that's where the decisions are made on our larger loans. Other than that, we do have, for the smaller loans, we have our senior lenders that they have authority to approve those loans. So I'm also located at the Sherry Branch.
Thank you. Does that work? Okay, there we go. So let me tell you just a little bit about Texas National Bank and who we are, and really why we think it's important to partner with a local community bank. So Texas National Bank, and again, really going back to the story of how small businesses work. Texas National Bank was founded in the 1920s, and it's a closely held bank. It's primarily owned by first and second generation immigrants that came to this country and really were chasing the American dream. In the last 15 years or so, the bank, when the bank was recently acquired, they had a change in ownership group in about 15 years ago. And at the time, the bank was about $50 million in assets. So if you take just kind of the story of a $50 million bank and an average return on average assets of about 1%, right? So making about $500,000 a year. And look at what that bank represented at the time. You maybe had about 10 employees, again, 50 million in assets. That is a perfect example of a small business. And fast forward to where it's at today. So today, Texas National Bank has over 130 employees, over $700 million in assets. Just apologies for the typo there. And in terms of what it's done to just spur economic development to our area, create jobs, and really boost businesses has been significant. So I think this is why it's so important for us as a bank to come back to these type of meetings and these type of conferences to really advocate for the small businesses and ensure that you have the right information and the right tools to ensure the success of your small business as well. So again, Texas National Bank, we are actually a minority-owned depository institution. That means that the majority of our ownership and our board composition are minorities, specifically Hispanic and females. In addition to that, we're also a community development financial institution. What that means is, as a community development financial institution, is that the dollars that we receive from our depositors are reinvested back to our community. There's a requirement; it's an official designation that we receive and that we have to comply with. So it's reviewed by regulatory bodies to ensure that we are redeploying capital back to our community. We serve the community of the Rio Grande Valley, so this is really our home, and want to ensure that the needs of the community here are being met. So again, that's just a little bit about the bank. In terms of what we're here to discuss, again, we made some introductions already. This is a quick agenda of what we're going to talk about. First part, Hector is going to guide us through some of the banking services that we think you and your business will benefit from and why it's important to partner. I will then go over some of the financing options and sources that are available to you. And then we'll wrap up with a couple of things about ensuring that you're building beneficial long-term relationships with your local bankers, ensuring that you're selecting the right financial institution, and then just understanding the different financing needs that are available. And lastly, we want to guide you through what are some of the important things that are going to be considered as you look for financing needs for your business. And part of that, just to close at the very end, is also how do we ensure that we can protect your wealth? As business owners that you're building significant wealth during this time, and it's important that you have the right tools, the right information to ensure that you're avoiding things that can potentially impair your wealth protection initiative through your business. I want to level set a little bit, just real quick. So I think it's important to tell you a little bit about why the value of community banking. Again, it's extremely, I think so just to rewind a little bit, my background is actually in the regulatory space. I spent 13 years working for the U.S. Department of Treasury, and what we did is we regulated banks. And I know there's a lot of uncertainty about the economy right now. You have the Fed raising rates, inflation's just going wild, the war in Ukraine continues. I mean, just so many things going on. You have the recent bank failures as well. So I'm sure it's top of mind for all of you to ensure that finding the right bank, finding the right person that can help you meet your needs, and that they offer also the right products and services. So that's what we really want to talk about today. And yes, we do have a lot of slides, but I'll admit that I'm one that's notorious from consistently deviating from what's in the slides. So I think ultimately what I want to make sure that we leave you with before we leave is we answer your questions. We have a couple of things that we want to talk about that we think will sort of benefit everyone in the group. But if there's also something more specific that you want to talk about, whether it's about the banking sector, about the right products and services, or just ensuring that you're partnering with the right person, please let us know. And we want to make sure we answer your questions. So really quick, in terms of just picking the right bank, again, we talked about some of the recent bank failures that have been happening. This is why I think in today's world, it's especially important to create a relationship with a small community bank. Obviously, we are here today representing Texas National Bank, but the reality is that there are several community banks that primarily operate locally that may also be a fit for you as well. I think it's important to find an institution that is well capitalized, that has a good balance sheet mix, and that really ultimately that understands your need is, I think, the main reason, one of the primary factors. And relationships just go such a long way. As business owners, did anybody here participate in PPP? The Paycheck Protection Program? No? So, as you all can recall, during COVID, uncertain times, right? Very, very difficult times. The U.S. Treasury released the CARES Act, which created several different initiatives: the Emergency Capital Investment Program, the Paycheck Protection Program, the American Rescue Plan, all that good stuff. So the Paycheck Protection Program was a great initiative for business owners to ensure that they preserve their employees. So there was grant opportunities that were available. The reality is that several business owners, unfortunately, went to their local institution, sometimes larger regional banks, and their needs weren't met. To tell you a little bit about some of the things that we did as a bank during PPP, we funded over 15,000 applications during PPP. That's about $400 million that went straight to small business owners located here in the Valley. And we preserved over 50,000 jobs. So it was quite an endeavor and admittedly not an easy task. But if there was one reason alone, just one reason alone to partner with a local banker and a community bank that you can trust, that was just the perfect example. Just being able to get in the front of the loan, in front of someone that can talk to you and that can prioritize your needs. So that's obviously what we want to talk about today. We want to just start by talking a little bit about some of the banking services that we think will be important to you, and then we'll circle back to also ensuring that we're meeting the financing needs that will be important for you to grow your business. So Hector, you want to kick us off?
Thank you very much, Ray. I'll borrow that. Thank you. So also need to mention welcome to those of us joining in virtually as well. So thank you very much. And please excuse a little bit under the weather, but I'm ready to go today. And that's why Gloria and I also, we had our solid executive VP here helping us out. So to move in, what I'm gonna do is really go more into detail on what Ray just discussed, because when you think about being a business owner, pretty much you're really good at what it is that you do. That's why you decided to open up this business. You're knowledgeable of it. You understand it. You feel confident, right? So we want you to be able to feel confident that the tools and the services that you're choosing based on your financial institution are the right ones for you, and also knowing where to find them. And that's what we're here for today. So in my part, we're talking a little bit and elaborating, like I mentioned earlier, about what Ray said, building your banking relationship. Has a lot to do with getting to know that loan officer, getting to know that branch manager, right? Even your executives, when you come across them, it's just so great to be able to establish that local connection. Why? Because they're local decisions, right? And it's just that simple. There's myths, though. There's a lot of myths about banks. And some of those myths that we like to point out are banks don't want my business because I'm too small. So it doesn't matter if it's a business that just started today or a business that's been going on for 2 or 10 years. We're here to help, and we have something for everybody. Banks don't make small loans. That's also not true. I need a perfect credit history. There's so many factors that we consider. Credit is one of them, though. Loan applications take months, and fees are not affordable, right? So everything has a cost. We know that. We hear the word free a lot, and I'm sure some of you as business owners even advertise the word free. But at the end of the day, something does have a cost, right? And it's so rewarding when you know that you're paying for something that is really valuable. So let's talk about what that means. So customer service, extremely valuable. Customer service starts at the moment that you enter that bank. Are you getting a good, warm, friendly greeting? Do they know me by name? When I go in there, am I getting prompt attention? Am I at least getting acknowledged, right? So all that says a lot about the institution that you're going to choose. First impression means everything. As business owners, you all know that, right? Even in relationships, we know that. First impression is everything. Look out for that. Access to your accounts and money, technology, specialized small business products and services. And of course, there's always more protection for consumers than businesses, but doesn't mean that there aren't protections. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail. So technology-wise, I would like to let you know that Texas National Bank, along with other community and local banks, we take pride in saying that we can do pretty much anything that your big banks can do. We just do it in a smaller scale, but technology-wise, we're there. And we're meeting the demand and we're meeting the needs. And we can help you through it, and we'll learn together, right? So specialized small business products and services, that's something that we're gonna go more into detail right now, and as well as the protections. Protections start with coverage. How many of you, show of hands, have heard of FDIC coverage? I'm sure you've heard about it, especially in the news lately. We've heard about these most recent bank failures that happened. Very different, by the way, from our bank. Very different. Their client base was extremely different. Their position was completely different than ours. And we are proud to say we are very well capitalized, like Ray mentioned. So whenever you find yourself in a position where you want to make sure that you're being protected, remember about FDIC. Remember that for each depositor, you are guaranteed $250. And this is by the government, $250 per depositor, per insured bank for each account ownership category. So what does that mean? Does that mean that you can have 2 checking accounts and 2 savings accounts, and as long as you have $250 in each one, you're covered? $1 million? No, it doesn't mean like that. It means it's per depositor, so per individual. So it doesn't matter if it's scattered amongst 4 or 5 accounts, it's per depositor. The only time that can change is if, let's say, Gloria and I have a joint account. Now it's 2 depositors, so that account just grew to what? 500,000, right? So now you're insured 500,000 by the U.S. government. Now, beneficiaries, the FDIC will look at that, and they'll look at that as an estate, as a revocable living trust, they call it. So that could change. So if you have additional beneficiaries, that could even up your FDIC coverage even more. If you like more detailed information, there's a very good site, and we put it on here for you all. It's on the FDIC's electronic deposit estimator, and y'all can use that whenever you like. Okay? Go ahead, piggyback.
One quick point. I want to say that banks have gotten obviously a lot more sophisticated, and we understand that ensuring your deposits is top of mind for every consumer. And so what banks have done now is there's systems in place. There's a reciprocal program in place so that in the event that you do have deposits that exceed your FDIC insurance, we can bring in your deposits and we diversify them in other institutions. Now, you will have one point of contact. This is a seamless thing that you won't see, but it gives you the added protection to ensure that your deposits are protected. So I understand that that's top of mind, especially with everything that happened recently. And I just want to know that there is programs in place, process in place to ensure that you continue to have your local banker, but that your funds are adequately protected. So let us know if you have questions on that, and we're happy to answer more on that.
That's a great ad. Thank you. So, yeah, you all can hear me. Yeah, it's a great ad. Thank you so much, Ray. And so now we go into the account services. So it's checking accounts, debit cards, savings accounts. Those are the big 3. You all heard of those. And of course, your CDs, retirement accounts, business credit cards, payroll services, cash management, merchant services, and other services. So these are all the services that we cover. And I'll go into detail a little bit about all of them. But just to start off, with your checking account, when you first get presented with your bank information, it's very important to look at the brochures and the fee schedules and the service costs. We talked a little bit about cost and having it be valuable. So this is a fictional sheet that we came up with here that's specifically talking about the cost of your business checking account, the monthly maintenance fee, and then you could see where it even starts talking about the items per deposit fee, the remote deposit imaged item fee, checks written fee. And the reason why I'm pointing all that out is because what I mentioned earlier, sometimes we advertise the word free, right? So what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that maybe the account, the monthly maintenance fee could be waived. Okay, so it is a free account. It's basically the monthly fee is waived. But now, can I see your schedule of fees? So look at the schedule of fees. How much does it cost when I deposit a check? How much does it cost when I do an ACH? How much does it cost when I do a wire transfer? We want to look at all that. We want to pay attention to all that because those are the ones that actually add up at the end of the day. There are ways to get them waived, though, and that's what we're talking about here on the last point. And all that has to do with establishing that relationship with your banker, asking the right questions. How do I get these fees waived? Sometimes it's about having a certain amount of deposits in there, and a certain amount of deposits that you do throughout the month can actually help offset some of those fees. And there's different products that the bank has to offer that can allow you to do that. And sometimes we'll even have an account that doesn't include these type of fees. For example, there's banks that might charge a cash deposit fee. For the amount of cash that you deposit, for every increment of, let's say, 5,000, you're going to be charged a few cents. Can you imagine a high cash-intensive business that's depositing a lot of cash, the amount of fees that you're going to get at the end of the month? And then there's some banks that'll tell you, we don't have that fee. We don't charge a cash deposit fee. Well, that's great. That fits your style of business. So those are the questions that are important for you to ask and to know. Payment transactions, most payment transactions do not occur in real time. For example, writing a check, initiating a bank transfer, you don't have funds available that can result in costly charges. Now there are things like Zelle. Everybody's heard of Zelle, right? Cash App. There are things like that it's instant. It's right away. But a lot of businesses still use the traditional transfer methods with our ACH, writing checks, all that. It has a little bit of a window in which it takes a day or two for them to actually post on the account. What that can affect ultimately is your cash flow. So that's one of the main important things that I'm sure Ray and Gloria are going to touch on in a bit, is preserving that cash flow. But we can help you through the banking services side be able to alleviate that cash flow pressure, and there's different ways to do that. There's direct deposit. We strongly recommend direct deposit. For those of you that have worked for somebody before, I'm sure you realize it's so much better to get paid direct deposit than to get a paycheck. So much better. Yes, we love the feel of that paycheck and we love the feel of the cash, right? But we know the confidence of having direct deposit in your account sometimes the night before, and knowing that you can't lose that check and it's gone forever, or that as a business owner, someone might compromise that check and the check might actually be counterfeited somewhere and maybe duplicated. You don't want those worries. Direct deposit helps you. The clearinghouse helps you get things done faster. There's something called debit block and lockbox services, remote deposit capture. Those are the additional items that come into play when we're talking about your cash management products. Some banks call it your treasury products. So we'll go a little bit more into detail on that. Debit cards. So I know a lot of business owners, one of the first things that they ask is, how many debit cards can I get? So, and the reason is because sometimes you don't have time as a business owner to go out, buy things that you need, you want to send somebody. So if you are considering doing that, there are different ways that that can be done. But number one, you want to ensure protection. You want to ensure that you have ways to control those debit cards. So ask the right questions. Ask if there's a way for you to control that debit card remotely, or to be able to see where it's being used from your mobile app or even online. We offer that on our app. If you go in there, you're able to actually block it if it's temporarily lost, and then unblock it once you find it. You can also have preloaded card options. Those are different things that you can do just to be able to, let's say, find a solution for a debit card that you all want to give to someone else. Now, savings vehicles, we want to make sure that you're aware of the rate market right now. Right now is a great time to invest. Right now is a great time to put your money away and just let it grow. So if somebody tells you, hey, we have a promotion on a savings account or a CD, okay, tell me a little bit more about it. Because as business owners, we know that you have your day-to-day operating account. You might have some cash reserves that you need to put aside. Great question to ask is, what are your rates like on your savings or your CDs? And sometimes you can even use those CDs when it comes to the credit side to be able to maybe get some type of lending option. We'll talk about that in a moment. Payroll services, this is strongly recommended. You can go through a third party. Sometimes you can even go through QuickBooks. If y'all are QuickBooks savvy, you're able to do that. Just an example of third-party service provider. Let's say that they offer full-service payroll. That's great because they could help you with the direct deposit. They could help you when it comes to knowing which employees should be W-2 or 1040. Your payroll account, separating that from your operating account. So that's something that I strongly recommend. Wouldn't it be scary if, let's say you had one account, that account was compromised, somebody got a hold of your bank information, some fraud happened, but that account that was compromised is the same account they use for your employees' payroll? That would be kind of scary. I know you all agree, right? So why not have two accounts? Have one for your payroll, have one for your operating expenses. Have that peace of mind that one account is just for my operating, the other one's for payroll, and you know you're balancing out when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I think it helps for several reasons, because I think in the banking industry, we're becoming more and more digitized. One of the things that you'll see, for example, depending on the type of business you operate, is that now we're getting to a point where, without the need of requesting extensive financial information, if you have a good depository account that we can analyze and interpret the transactions, so essentially looking at your credits and debits and the cash flow that's flowing through that account, let's just say your operating account, we may be able to provide credit just off of doing that particular analysis. So I think it's pretty neat that there's a lot of technology that's being put into the finance sector. There's a big emphasis on open banking, embedded finance, and certainly deposit segmentation in terms of how you manage that will help you as well, and also provide just ease of access to capital needs that may later arise. So I just wanted to make that real quick point. I thought that was an excellent point.
That's very important to note. So moving into, I told you I was going to go detailed about the treasury and cash management, right? So merchant services also goes hand in hand with this. Managing your cash by discussing options with your bank, keeping detailed records, reporting all your cash income, and considering remittance or wire transfer services from a bank. Why is this important? Well, when it comes to the future of maybe getting a loan or a line of credit, y'all want to make sure that you're showing in your bank statements everything that you're making, everything that you're earning. You're depositing as much cash, as much checks as you can, keeping detailed records. Those of you that do use QuickBooks, it'd be good to ask your bank, hey, can this software, can it sync with my online banking for the bank? Am I able to merge that together so that I could be able to transfer all of my activity from QuickBooks into my business online banking? You can do that with Texas National Bank, so make sure wherever you're at, you can do that as well. Increase sales by using merchant services. Merchant services, those of you that accept debit cards or credit cards, that's what we talk about when we talk about merchant services. And I know as business owners, I know you're going to be getting a lot of knocks on your door. I mean, a lot of people that might not even be knocking, they're just coming on in and asking you if they can compare pricing on your debit card or credit card machine. Some of you might have already gotten that. But it's because it's a very competitive market. But the number one thing that you need to know is that you're secure and that you're able to know how your merchant services is working together to make you not only successful as a business owner, but also to help promote your business. The merchant services, there's so many things that can be done. You can do gift cards on the receipts. They can even print. If you come back at a later time, you can get maybe a 10% discount. There's ways in which you can reduce fees, sometimes charging the customer instead of you receiving the charge. Sometimes it happens to fit that type of business. There's so many options when it comes to merchant services. So make sure that you're asking about all the options available. What we do is we're able to serve as a broker, so we're able to choose the best merchant services company for you. And one of the last things that I want to discuss with y'all is just some resources. SBA.gov, it doesn't get any better than that, and the FDIC.gov site on MoneySmart. So much good information there. Please make note of this. There's a lot of downloadable information that you can use and just keep handy that will tell you a lot of good details about how to protect your business, your financial management tools that are available, risk management, insurance for your business. If you own your own business and you have a property, you're going to need property insurance. I'm sure someone here might have already discussed that earlier, but that's such an important part of protecting your business. And the way these hailstorms happen lately, oh my goodness, right? Just out of nowhere, you have to be prepared. Reconcile accounts monthly. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but just some tips. Work with your bank to address discrepancies. That all goes back to what Ray was talking about, having that good relationship. It's very stressful when you're trying to get a hold of your bank and all you get is routed to customer service and you get like a 15 or 20 minute hold time. You want someone that can answer. You want someone that can answer an email. I answered an email one time on a Sunday. Someone was in Mexico and couldn't use their card. We got it working for them, okay? We were able, of course, with our tools on the app. I wasn't at the bank, but we got it to work. Verify the amounts paid for checks. Retain reports from remote deposit scanner software. That goes back to your treasury services and things that you can offer to where maybe you can scan checks from your business. I mentioned earlier about us wanting you to focus more on your business, not spending so much time at your bank. So if you receive a lot of checks, we can actually get you a little machine like what the tellers have to run checks, and you can put that in your place of business, and you can run checks from there and have them deposited to your bank account. There's so many things that we can do. That concludes a part of the banking services, so this is where I let Ray and Gloria take over.
Yeah, thank you. So I think, has anybody here ever applied for a business loan? It could be extremely intimidating, right? And frankly, sometimes we don't even apply for a business loan. It's probably just because of that, because it just seems like such an intimidating process. I really want to emphasize your point about, again, the relationship, just because it goes such a long way. So typically in corporate America, if you want to call it, the way it happens is you go to a bank, you fill out an application, that application then gets input into a system and it's centralized somewhere else where someone in San Francisco or something like that, depending on which large bank you're banking with, then makes a decision on that, right? The value of community banking, again, just to retouch on that, is just being able to have your lender's cell phone number. I mean, if it's just that simple, I think that goes a long way. So just being able to say, just pick up the phone, hey, Gloria, I'm having issues. I've been trying to grow my business, and I don't know where to get started. I have some good receivables now. I'm getting good cash flows from my business. I really need a new piece of equipment, though, and I have no idea where to start. Can you help me? And so just the value of having someone's cell phone number that actually can get things going for you and be an advocate for you and your business goes a long way. So I really want to emphasize that. I think we pride ourselves as not as, in a traditional way, being bankers, but almost being consultants and serving in a consulting role. I think that's what allows us to really understand where you're at in your business, understand what kind of needs your business has, and then be able to put you in the right vehicle to support those activities. So, is this the first slide that we have? Okay. So I think what we're going to do here is kind of go through the journey, right? So I think what happens early on is when you start your business, there's a lot of non-traditional financing involved, right? I want to start my business, so I have a little bit of savings, and my husband has a little bit of savings, or my wife has a little bit of savings, or my aunt wants to sponsor me a little bit, or there may be a small little grant that's available. And so again, a lot of the startups get financed by whether it's a gift or a savings or just informal loans. I'm just going to use my credit card to get myself started, right? So that's what you see a lot. And then as your business matures, then it grows in sophistication. And then you start reporting financial information, you start being able to have access to more financial options, and so on and so forth. And I think what we're saying here is, as your business matures, put yourself in a position where you can slowly graduate within the bank, much like if you're going back to school, right? So just the value of, for example, starting with a depository relationship with a local financial institution, and to say, look, I've never asked you for money, but I've had a deposit with you for 5 months, a year, 2 years, more than that hopefully, and I need some money now. I need some help. And if you notice, I have a great track record with my depository relationship. I maintain great balances, but the reality is I don't want to use my cash because I need it to operate. I need you to help me with some financing. My business is doing well. I've been reporting my financials. And the fact that we can look at that track record of saying, look, this person is right. They've never had any issues. They perform well. Let's see what we can do to help them. So step number 1, start a depository relationship with your local bank. It just goes such a long way, and definitely consider segmentation of deposits. But the idea is, how can you slowly start graduating yourself into when you do need financing needs, you're ready to go. And you have some goodwill built with your personal banker, right? So I think this first part is definitely ensure you're putting yourself in a position for success. I'll quickly touch on the financing options. I don't want to spend a lot of time here because I think you probably know the difference between a term loan and an installment loan or a line of credit, right? But I think most of the banks that you go to nowadays will have all of these options available to you. The value of this slide, and I'll just let you take a look at it, I won't regurgitate it all, and then the next slide that we're going to cover is to understand that finding the right vehicle for you is extremely important. So like I mentioned, you might start with a depository relationship. And then if you want your business to start building some credit and just being recognized for the financing needs and be rewarded for the positive repayment behavior, maybe a commercial credit card is the next step, right? For example, at our bank, if you could skip one more and then we'll come back. So starting the business credit card may be the next gradual step towards that, right? And rather than you paying out of pocket for all the needs that your business is having, you start your business starts building that credit and that visibility. And again, that track record with that bank to say, hey, this bank, this depositor, this customer, this business not only has a deposit relationship with us that's performed well, but they've also had a credit card for us for a while. They always make their payments on time. They have a great credit score, whatever the case might be. So again, slowly putting yourself in a position so then when the bigger ask comes, then you're ready to go and you have a proven track record. And I think y'all are all familiar as how credit cards work, so I want to come back to this. Identifying the right financing option is important. So for example, if you're saying, look, I need to buy a piece of equipment, usually the structure and the repayment of how that deal is done is different than, for example, if you have a construction loan, right? That's project-based. So for example, understanding the difference between a line of credit where if you have, for example, receivables that you're constantly financing, that you can then leverage the receivables, those invoices that you're going to get repaid back, and establish a line of credit, perhaps based on a borrowing base, or perhaps based on just some sort of invoice financing where we take a discount of that invoice and we provide immediate capital to you so that you can start paying your employees, you can start paying your operational expenses, but you get access to the credit. And so I think the power of leverage is important, is I guess what I'm trying to say, and ensuring that you have the right vehicle for that particular financing need is crucial. So again, if you have a construction loan, you're going to have, for example, a line of credit for the first 12 months, right? Let's just say your business is being built or your home or whatever the case might be. Then eventually that terms out, right? And then now you're set up in 20 years, 25 years, depending on the type of financing need, depending on the type of a project that you're financing. So again, understanding repayment sources, the equity requirements for each type of financing option, the type of structure is crucial. So really these two slides just say that as a bank, we have obviously all these services. I think you'll find most of these services in most banks, but it's important to just understand what is your need and what is your business need, and then what is the right loan type for my business need. Does that make sense? Here are a couple of other options that we do just regularly in terms of things that we're financing. We do ag lending for crops, livestock, farm machinery, manufacturing. We have loan guarantee programs as well, depending on eligibility, whether it's through SBA or for veterans and military members. Disaster loans, I mentioned the Paycheck Protection Program, that really all came out of COVID. I think another value of having access to that cell phone number, right, is if there's something in the news that's popping out or that's coming down, it's just being able to pick up the phone and saying, what does this mean? I keep on hearing people talk about PPP. What is that? These acronyms are getting really fancy. So, somebody to just be able to explain, it stands for the Paycheck Protection Program. Hey, by the way, your business is eligible. You need to come in and talk to us. We want to make sure we help you. So again, the value of that goes just a long way. A couple other financing options. So equipment leasing, financing inventory. I mentioned your business may be in a position where you're financing accounts receivable. I'm sorry, you have accounts receivables and you're selling inventory, and you're waiting to be repaid on that. That's where a loan can come into play. So that, again, your capital needs are met immediately. So that might be, financing inventory. I mentioned factoring. We don't typically do factoring lending in banks. It can be a little predatory in nature. What we do is we do a discount on the I suppose it's similar in terms of process, but less predatory in nature. So what we do is we set up a lockbox arrangement where essentially the payments would come in straight to the bank, and we would provide the immediate capital needs to you. So then your vendors would be set up in a system where they can upload their invoices, pay their invoices, and then it would come straight to the bank, and then your loan would be repaid. So there's great financing options that are available to you, and technology as well to make it convenient and as frictionless as possible to you. I think the one thing that I'm sure we can all agree is, as a small business owner, y'all probably carry a lot of hats, right? Sometimes you're the accountant, you're the salesperson, you're the bookkeeper. You do it all, right? So any way of sort of embedding what you're doing as a business owner can just go a very, very long way. And so as a bank, that's what we're trying to do. And I think that's where the industry in general, as a matter of fact, is going to. We want to make sure that you have sort of a one-stop shop where all of your needs are met. And if not, we'll point you at a minimum to the right place. So again, really selling the value of, we want to be your consultants, we want to be there to help, and then we'll meet your financing needs in the process if you allow us, but more importantly is, how do we get you going, okay? I mentioned credit cards, and again, the financing of receivables as well. So we can move on to the next slide. I think one big piece recently, and this happened, of course, through the pandemic and the CARES Act, PPP came out of that, right? I mentioned that program. And let me just say, it was huge. It was huge, huge, huge. It's helped save and preserve a lot of jobs during the pandemic. There were several other initiatives that came up with that. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that I think applies to us as a bank and several of the banks here locally is something called the Emergency Capital Investment Program, where banks were awarded capital to deploy in underserved and underrepresented communities. And if you ever looked at our local poverty rates and unemployment rates, unfortunately, they're a lot higher than we would like them to be. And so I think one of the reasons that the government has been very deliberate in ensuring that they provide capital to those communities is to help boost those economies and help improve that. And unfortunately, systemically, in the past, minority communities have often faced barriers of entry into the financial system, right? I don't know about you all, but coming from Mexico, right? I recall as a kid growing up, rather than having, one of my aunts or my cousins or, my mom go to a bank, there was like this thing called tandas. Does anybody people remember tandas? Yeah, so not the best financing vehicle, right? And unfortunately, sometimes, again, instead of going to a bank and just talking to your lender, again, because I get it, it's an intimidating process. If you don't have that person's phone number and if you don't know who they are and what they look like and do they speak like I speak, and this is why, again, we pride ourselves on being bilingual, bicultural, because we think it's important. But then, so if it's not the tandas, it's the local payday lender or whatever the case might be, right? So I guess where I'm going at is creating awareness of what are the options that are available to you is extremely important. And recently, there's been a lot of different programs that have been available by the government. So SBA, for example, the Small Business Administration, has programs where they can inject equity into your project, right? Which reduces the risk for the lender. And if your project is perhaps perceived as higher risk, the fact that the SBA is giving you more equity into your project makes it easier for the lender to say, yes, let's go. Where, for example, you might say, hey, you know what, I only have 10% to get started, and it sounds like for this project, you might need 20, 30%, 40% down. The SBA may come in and say, hey, we'll put 30 or we'll put 40 if you put 10, and you'll get your business going. And so now you go to your lender and you say, hey, actually, I'm at a 50% loan of value. Now it's somewhat of a no-brainer. The risk for that lender has been reduced. Like SBA, there are several other programs out there. One of the ones that Treasury also manages is tax credits. For example, if you're financing a project for low-income housing, or if you're financing a building that is in a historical district, or that it just has historical significance. I guess the one that comes to mind is like Cine El Rey. Have y'all ever seen Cine El Rey here locally? Right? It's just like a staple, right, of downtown McAllen. And I think there's more, right? I'm not singling out that one. But if you have a building like that has historical significance and that could be preserved to preserve some of the architecture behind that, there's historical tax credits that are available. And there's also something called new market tax credits as well. So I think what I'm trying to say is all these tax credit options, look, there's a scale piece to it and there's compliance requirements tied to it, but they significantly improve your equity contribution so that, again, when you go to the lender, you're saying, hey, I'm actually a lot less risky than you think. Here's how you can get me going, and here's how we can set up some tax credits that will benefit you, that will benefit me, and more importantly, just continue to have the operations going. I think I touched on this slide already. Again, this slide and this one as well basically talks about, again, how early on, if you're not careful about how you start your financial journey as your business, you can be subject to a lot of non-traditional and perhaps even more predatory lending that can be available to you within the financial system. If there's one message that I would love to leave you with today is please ensure that you're staying connected to the financial system. I think sometimes it could be lucrative to get started easily, but because there's less barriers, but that also results in a much more costly situation, right? The difference, for example, of having your own house owner finance, as an example, versus going to a bank and getting a 30-year, fixed rate loan or whatever the case might be. So that is really the point of this. And I think graduating, starting your business in a path where it continues to graduate from an account to a commercial credit card and then to that ask on what that capital need is for your business will make you ensure that you're having the best financing options available to you. Let me quickly talk over some of the important things about just ensuring that your business is in a position for success when you are going to ask for financing needs. I think, Hector, you already talked about strengthening your personal and your business credit history. We talked about through the credit cards. Separating personal and business finances is also important, not just for obtaining credit, but frankly also for tax purposes. I want to talk a little bit about the 5 C's of credit, and I think we talked about this already as well. If you can move on to the next one. So in commercial credit, when we have borrowers ask about what is it going to take for me to get credit with you all, we often talk about the 5 C's of credit. And these are the 5 C's of credit. The first one's capacity. Does your business demonstrate the ability to repay this loan? Typically what happens is we take a ratio. We're very ratio driven. And typically we look at something called a debt service coverage ratio. What that means is my business generating sufficient cash flow on an annual basis to support the annual debt service requirements of this loan, right? So for example, if you're going to get a loan for $1 million, and what is a $1 million loan in annual debt service, you think? Yeah, $40,000, $50,000, I don't know, just to throw a number out there. So if you have $40,000, $50,000 in annual debt service, your business cash flow needs to be above that, right? In order to demonstrate to a lender, hey, I can support this debt. Does that make sense? So take for example, your net profit for the year, add back your depreciation on whatever expenses you had, add back the interest expense that you're going to pay on this loan, divided by your monthly payment, and that is essentially the debt service coverage ratio, right? Ensuring that you have at least over a 1-time debt service coverage ratio is critical to demonstrate that cash flow wise, I can repay you, and this is why from a capacity standpoint, I'm a good fit for you. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes. Now collateral is another important factor, right? I think collateral is generally well understood. We want to make sure that should something happen to your business, because, life happens, whatever the case is, do we have something to protect ourselves as an institution? And the reason why that's important to us, but frankly, it's also important to you, is because the less risky of a transaction, the better from a cost perspective it is to you, right? Unsecured loans or loans at high loan to values are typically more costly because you have to account for more risk. So I think as a business owner, what you really want to showcase is how can I reduce the risk, not just for myself as an owner, right, so that I'm okay and I can sleep comfortably at night, but also for the lender, and so that the lender can provide me the financing needs that they want and at the best cost possible. So collateral is important. I talked a little bit about your credit history, just ensuring that you have a good track record with that institution. Conditions are important. So like the terms of the loan and the business environment, the covenants as well sometimes. So for example, saying, hey, if you're going to pay out dividends to your stakeholders, let's just say you're going to have to pay dividends, hey, we'll allow you to pay dividends, but if you are unable to meet your debt service requirement, then we're going to ask for you not to pay dividends, So understanding what those covenants, or it could be a reason for default on that particular loan if those covenants aren't structured correctly. So having the right conditions for that loan agreement, and those covenants is extremely important. And I think one very, very, very important is just character. Are we dealing with someone that has the right level of integrity, that's ethical, that has a good code of conduct, a great reputation in the community, and good references? It just goes a very, very long way to go into, when our lenders go into a boardroom and say, hey, I want to vouch for this person because I know them, they're out in the community, they're doing the work, and they do great in business. I think as a business owner, I'll skip through this because I want to leave some time for questions. You know a lot of this already. What's important? You want to make sure that you have good record keeping, good financial statements, that you're filing your tax returns in a timely manner, that you're paying your taxes in a timely manner. All these things, again, will just ensure that you are of less risk to yourself and to the bank, and provide you with the best opportunities. So Hector, do you want to talk really quick about protecting wealth and avoiding some scams, and then maybe we can get really quickly into some Q&A.
Yeah, of course. So avoiding fraud and scams, all that can be found through your bank's products and services that they offer. So just make sure that when you're asking questions about the products and services, you're always asking how am I protected, and what methods do I have to ensure security. There's so many protocols that you can do internally, but there's also some that you can do through the bank. For example, setting up parameters for employees that have access to your account activity, or for employees that maybe can do transfers. You can set up the limits, maybe who has access to what or for what purpose. There's so many different ways to protect yourself. Of course, I want to remind you, there's the government agencies that are here to help you avoid fraud and scams. The Federal Bureau of Investigations. There's so many here that I'm not going to touch on all of them, but this is just good information for y'all to have. FBA.gov has a lot of good information. This is where pretty much we go to, even as an institution, to get a lot of good information to protect you all as our consumers. So again, we wanted to make these resources available to you all. I know our hosts will make it a point to make sure that these resources do get put out there for you all. We want to thank you all again for giving us the time to touch on that. We do want to leave it open to any questions that y'all might have. So is there any questions that anybody has?
Any questions? Now's the time to ask. Everybody needs money. These guys know what they're talking about.
I was surprised that we're not getting questions.
I would say you can't operate without money. Guys, no questions now? Okay, there you go. There's one. Let me get that to you. All right, here you go, man.
How much money do you have to ask for SBA loan? You have to have money at the bank?
No. So the technical answer is no. Like I said, always it's going to be good to demonstrate a good track record in terms of deposit relationship. But no, there's not a specific amount that says you need to have X amount in deposits to be able to qualify for an SBA loan. That might range depending on the amount that you're asking for. But there's a myriad of SBA programs, so it's just going to depend on which program you're going to apply for. And what we do is we have in-house expertise on SBA, and we would love to visit with you and kind of walk you through those to talk about what options are available. Mm-hmm.
Another question back here. Here you go, ma'am.
I was reading that it's important to have multiple bank accounts, like one for like the whole revenue, and then you break it down to, the savings for the taxes and all that. Right. Is it important to keep with your bank, or is it okay to extend to other banks like yourself?
Well, yeah. If you don't mind, I'll take the. So, as we touched earlier, we do encourage, of course, being able to diversify. Right, being able to diversify based on your needs, based on your business needs. However, just to let you know, for example, if you were to be, coming to me as a business owner, telling me that you do want to separate one expense from another, payroll, right? Maybe even an account just put for tax purposes, we could definitely do that. With one institution, the benefit of having everything is that you can simply go from the convenience of your PC. Go in there and you can move from one account to another simultaneously, and you have that immediate credit going from one account to another, versus sometimes when it is at another institution, you hit that block in which it's not going to be available till maybe the following business day, and then you have that little bit of a time crunch. Now you're waiting. So you can have multiple accounts with one bank. Strongly encourage it, but that's a great question. You could definitely diversify around, but one main institution should be the one that's catering to all your needs when it comes to being able to separate your expenses.
And there's probably tipping points as well, right? So for example, I think obviously the advantage of having multiple accounts in different institutions is if you ever apply for a loan, and you can shop around a little bit too, right? And you have a good track record with all of them. So certainly there's that argument. Perhaps there's a scale component to where at some point it makes sense to do that depending on deposit activity. But maybe until you reach that scale, it's just from a convenience factor, it just probably doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think that's as a business owner, that's for you to decide, for sure.
Do you have Zelle?
We do have Zelle, yes. Come see us. Come see Hector. This guy knows it.
Sold right there. Good questions, good question. Any other questions? Now's the time to ask. Because they're going to charge you if you go to the bank. No, I'm kidding.
No, honestly, we want to thank you all for your time and for just taking the time to listen to us. And again, we want to commend you all for the work that you're doing in getting your businesses going and getting your business started. Please let us know how we can get involved and stay in tune and support your businesses. One of the things that our bank is going to be doing pretty soon is we're going to be highlighting our small business owners through little workshops and just talking about a little bit about who they are and how are they supporting our community. And we would love to do that for you as well as we get going. So again, just thank you so much. We're incredibly proud to be here in the Valley, and we want to support you all. And we thank you for your time today.
So
I have one question.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can answer it. It's for me.
Okay, I'll try.
I'm constantly getting calls about if I had employees on a W-9 during the pandemic that I can get. Is that a scam?
It is depending on who you're getting the call from.
Well, I get it from different organizations.
So thank you for reminding me about this. So there is something called the Employee Retention Credit.
Exactly.
And so basically, if you retained employees during the pandemic, you probably qualify for this. And some of the credits are pretty noteworthy. So I would definitely ask you to look into it. I would source it yourself rather than answering the call, right? Come talk to us or come talk to other banks that are doing that. And usually they partner with a third party because ultimately it's a filing requirement. We just help you sort of do the process.
Okay, I haven't done it because I thought it was a scam.
No,
Definitely
there's
look into it. Definitely look into it, and encourage all of you all, especially if you have retained employees during the pandemic, to look into ERC.
We did have a little raffle going on, so thank you all for participating. And this is a really nice gift. I know we enjoy it as well. We carry one of these around. It has an integrated USB port. It's water resistant. Has key holder and a laptop compartment. And vegan leather, I may add. Well, not bad, right?
Vegan leather.
Yeah. So this is it has some cool stuff inside as well. And the winner for the drawing is Maria Elvia Lanis.
Hey. See,
Come on up.
when you asked the question when you were the first one, we just said, you know what? No, that's not true. By the way, that is not true. All right. Well, thank you all so much.
Take a
Appreciate
quick
it.
picture.
And thank you to the
Appreciate the
Chamber
knowledge.
and to Workforce Solutions
Thank
for putting
you.
this great event together.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to proceed to a small break. We've got some drinks in the back if you want to. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for that information. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you. No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have got some drinks in the back. I think we've got Cokes, some Sprites, some Dr. Peppers. We don't have any water, but feel free to get a drink. We've got next up, we've got our own Julio Salinas presenting on social media. He's going to be telling you how to become social media savvy, how to get your market out there, so please come back. After that, we've got Ms. Pilar from Billy's Dips, and then we're going to close it out and we can have you fill out the survey and get your, what? Oh, Dip It by Pilar, I'm so sorry. And then we can close it out and you can get your bags on the way out. So again, please come back. Stretch out your legs a little bit.
Welcome to Taco Palenque, where the magic happens at this very moment. And especially for you. We know fresh food simply tastes better. That's why we start cooking your meal at the exact moment you place your order. Your order is unique and special to us, and you will notice it. Enjoy your meal. Taco Palenque, food in real time.
Whether you like to cook or not, I have the perfect ingredient that will transform a simple meal into an amazing dish. Or if you just want to have a snack, let me introduce you to Dip It by Pilar. Yes, I am Pilar Gonzalez, the CEO and founder of Dip It by Pilar, a small manufacturing plant that makes dips with a healthy twist. Dip It comes in different flavors like chipotle, cilantro, and jalapeno. I dare you to try them and live without them.
We're all running towards something greater than ourselves. The question is not whether you'll finish, but whether you have the courage to get started. We have faced many hurdles these past 100 years, and we could have given up. But who would we be if we let those challenges define us? We choose to keep running. The roads we've covered tell our story, show our passions, what we value, and the hard work we put in. Some may ask, why do we keep running? It's simple. To remain true to our community and to our vision. And we're just getting started.
Welcome to Taco Palenque, where the magic happens at this very moment. And especially for you. We know fresh food simply tastes better. That's why we start cooking your meal at the exact moment you place your order. Your order is unique and special to us, and you will notice it. Enjoy your meal. Taco Palenque, food in real time.
Whether you like to cook or not, I have the perfect ingredient that will transform a simple meal into an amazing dish. Or if you just want to have a snack, let me introduce you to Dip It by Pilar. Yes, I am Pilar Gonzalez, the CEO and founder of Dip It by Pilar, a small manufacturing plant that makes dips with a healthy twist. Dip It comes in different flavors like chipotle, cilantro, and jalapeno. I dare you to try them and live without them.
We're all running towards something greater than ourselves. The question is not whether you'll finish, but whether you have the courage to get started. We have faced many hurdles these past 100 years, and we could have given up. But who would we be if we let those challenges define us? We choose to keep running. The roads we've covered tell our story, show our passions, what we value, and the hard work we put in. Some may ask, why do we keep running? It's simple. To remain true to our community and to our vision. And we're just getting started.
Welcome to Taco Palenque, where the magic happens at this very moment. And especially for you. We know fresh food simply tastes better. That's why we start cooking your meal at the exact moment you place your order. Your order is unique and special to us, and you will notice it. Enjoy your meal. Taco Palenque, food in real time.
Whether you like to cook or not, I have the perfect ingredient that will transform a simple meal into an amazing dish. Or if you just want to have a snack, let me introduce you to Dip It by Pilar. Yes, I am Pilar Gonzalez, the CEO and founder of Dip It by Pilar, a small manufacturing plant that makes dips with a healthy twist. Dip It comes in different flavors like chipotle, cilantro, and jalapeno. I dare you to try them and live without them.
We're all running towards something. Something greater than ourselves. The question is not whether you'll finish, but whether you have the courage to get started. We have faced many hurdles these past 100 years, and we could have given up. But who would we be if we let those challenges define us? We choose to keep running. The roads we've covered tell our story, show our passions, what we value, and the hard work we put in. Some may ask, why do we keep running? It's simple. To remain true to our community and to our vision. And we're just getting started.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I think we're running a little late, right? Yeah. We're going to introduce you to Vin Diesel. He's going to do Fast and Furious right here, Mr. Julio Salinas. He's going to be talking about one-on-one marketing, why you should...
Why you should take care of your brand before somebody else does.
Fantastic. All right, we're going to turn it over to Julio, and you're in good hands. Appreciate it, Julio. Thank you.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me pretty good? Everybody all right? Good. So we're going to go over today Marketing 101. Has anybody actually ever taken a course in marketing, or beginners or anything like that? Okay, great. So at least you'll know at least the intro to it of what I'll be covering today. A little bit about me. Do you guys have the presentation up real quick? So I've been in marketing for over 8 years. I've worked with big businesses here in the Valley, international businesses also. A few of them, just to mention, Taco Palenque, Palenque Grill, Trancasa, Home Builders, Treviño Construction, Villanueva, Villa, and Osana Homes, Osana Construction. I've also done work with dealerships, Jaguar Land Rover, Mercedes-Benz, out of San Juan, Gilsa is what do you call it? They do, I guess, flooring, tile and stuff like that. They also have their main store was in Monterrey. We also work with New Urban Living, which is a furniture store out of McAllen. I don't know if you guys seen their big store there out on 10th Street. Next slide. It's the next slide. There you go. I work with Your Home Texas, Excel Physical Therapy. Awesome, thank you. Like I said, I've also worked with Kappa, which is a construction company. So I've done a little bit of everything as far as, the whole marketing spectrum, marketing different products. And to market these products, there's a different approach for everything. You're not selling to the same audience. You're not selling to the same clients. You're talking about high-end items and low-end items. You're talking about, tacos to homes and cars. So I've helped people sell over millions of dollars in revenue for their companies over the past 8 years. So yes, I do have some insight into what marketing is. You're in good hands. Let's start with the basics. 4 P's of marketing: price, place, promotion, and product. These are the basic concepts of what you should base your marketing strategies on, right? Marketing, the process and activity of being creative, communicating what your product is about, what you're selling. I like to think of it as of when you have your product, what is it going to solve for somebody? What are you selling? If you're selling a service, what is it facilitating for somebody else? And a lot of times you put your product out there, but the person might not know it exists or why they need to buy it. So it's also your job to persuade them to buy it, to persuade them to pursue the product, right? Covering the product, your product or services, they should fulfill an existing consumer demand or a need. What problem are you solving for them? Also, you got to think, how much are you going to charge for it? Where are you going to sell it? Are you going to have a brick and mortar store? Is it going to be strictly online? Are you going to go to their house and provide a service? Or are you going to have a shop somewhere? So all of that is something that you have to take into account also when coming up with your business idea and what you're going to serve, right? Identify what's special, what's going to be different from your competitor. One thing that gets me for product is ice. Frozen water, right? There's a company that sells frozen spheres of ice. It's ice, but it's in a sphere shape. And they'll sell you one of those spheres for $30. And that's, why do you buy that $30 sphere? Or why would somebody buy it when you can go to Stripes and get a 7-pound bag for $2, right? But it's all about the concept or perception that it creates for that person. Because usually those spheres, you would put it, with a glass of whiskey or something. And it, it doesn't dilute as fast, or, that's how they sell it to you. That's what they tell you it does, right? And it could in a sense, but also it's a sphere of ice. It's frozen water for $30, So you got to think of that also. It's like, where is your product placed? Am I going to be selling it as a luxury item? Is it going to be an affordable item? So all these things got to come into play. Again, it goes with the price, the amount of money you're going to charge for the service. The right price drives up most of the amount of sales. If it's priced too high, some people might not buy it. If it's priced, you got to find that correct price point where you're selling enough to make profit and you're also covering all your other costs. Again, it goes back to also supply and demand. There is a good example of one of the items when it's, for example, it's new to the market. I have bought stuff from companies. I like to shoot a lot. It's one of my hobbies. So I bought ear protection, right? And I bought some Bluetooth earphones, or not well, yeah, they work as earphones too, but they protect my ears whenever I'm shooting. And I signed up for their newsletter, for their email newsletter, and they recently released a new upgraded version of their earphones. And because I was one of the people that bought their old products, they were releasing it with a discount of $100. So it was like, be one of the first to buy them and you get $100 off or something like that. So introduction to market is also important. If you have loyal customers, after you build a customer base, you can do things like that to kind of push out new products, test the waters, see, hey, it's selling good. People did like it, people didn't like it. And you got to take all those things into account to tweak it and see, should we launch a full product because of that. Place goes to, where are you going to sell the product? Is it going to be a brick and mortar store? Is it going to be online? Facebook Market, Etsy, eBay? There's a million. Are you going to build a Wix site? Are you going to advertise yourself on Google? Use ads, Google ads, Facebook ads. So all of that is your place. Wherever people are going to see your product, wherever you're planning to push your product. You're going to choose to use radio advertisements, TV advertisements. You got to start thinking about those costs too, because advertising on TV is way more expensive than radio. Radio is way more expensive than online. If you're going to start with a small business, I suggest go the online route. And I'll cover some of that stuff today because it's easier, it works with your budget better, and in my experience, it's easier to target your audience. So you're selling to the right people, not necessarily to a broad general audience. Promotions, it goes back to what I was speaking about. If you're going to introduce a product, or you're going to have a sale, is it 50% off? Is it also, is it going to be a new product? Is it going to be an existing product? Maybe you need to get rid of some old inventory. So you're going to say, hey, 75% off today, or 15% off, or something like that, to introduce new products later, or new services. Or if you're starting, a new service, you also put it out for discounts. Now, so the overview of that is the 4 Ps, which is product, place, promotion, and what was the other one? I keep product, place, promotion, price. There you go. I keep forgetting myself. Sometimes I add a new one, which is people, because you got to keep in mind how people react to your products. So you got to take what they tell you, like, or what comments they leave, for example, on your site, or what the reviews they might leave you, which goes back to taking control of your brand. If you're not online, if you're not on Facebook or Google, somebody else is doing it for you, whether you realize it or not. Let's say somebody bought your product and they left a bad review on somebody's Facebook page or on Google itself. Sometimes you don't realize your business is on Google, but somebody that has visited before possibly wrote a review about it. So Google creates a listing for it. Even if you're not controlling it, the address might be there and you have no idea. And there's already bad reviews on it, but you're not answering those reviews. A lot of times I saw it working with construction companies. People pay other people, or competing companies pay people to go and leave bad reviews under those construction companies. So my job for a while was also to be reading those reviews and answering back. And Google tells you like, oh, so-and-so, the name of the person left this review. We would go back to the records and I was like, we never built a house for that person. So obviously it was a company trying to bring down their rating in the Google search. So it's important to be there because you have a strong online presence. People connect with you. You connect with your customer. You can ask, and you can see what they're talking about your products or your prices, and it gives you feedback to either improve or change something if it's not working, right? A well-managed online presence, enhances your company's reputation. The people see you as a reputable buyer. When I'm buying higher-end products, I tend to do my due diligence and research, watch YouTube videos on whatever I'm going to buy, see if people are making videos about it, if they do reviews, how long was the product supposed to last, or like I said, it goes back to my habit or my hobby of wanting to go either hunting or fishing. I mean, some of those like fishing rods or even my rifles, those are expensive items. I don't feel good dishing out $2,000 if I know it's not going to work well, So it's important to do your research also, and which goes back to when you have a product, is it answering somebody's problem? Is it going to answer somebody's question? And it goes back to if you don't, the more you educate the consumer, the more they're going to look to you as to be that control point. I heard from this company, and this is the reason why they do this, And it gives you a power of authority also, a more reputable company. Social media has transformed the way we do business and operate and communicate with customers, right? So you get to interact with them. You have your brand reputation management. It's cost effective, like I said. It's way cheaper than $3,000 for radio, $5,000 to $10,000 for a TV commercial. Because it's not just to play it on air. You also have to pay the company that's going to create the commercial. You're talking about another 50 to 30 grand, depending on who you hire. It could even be more. Social media ads, they could be as easy as taking pictures, and there's a lot of free social media platforms, Canva, that can help you create different graphics, videos. I mean, teenagers are creating those right now on TikTok and stuff like that, and they're using those as ads. So it's a whole new ballgame. I used to think, I can't call myself a marketing expert anymore. I'm a marketing enthusiast. Why? Because marketing changes every day. Like, I'll read something and tomorrow it's obsolete. I gotta read something else now. The Facebook algorithm changed, the Google algorithm changed. So you gotta kind of keep up with the trends. Again, it goes back to regular posting on social media. It increases your brand awareness by staying relevant with the community. You post, a good rule of thumb, maybe 3 times a week with different content, answering perhaps different questions. For example, it goes back to or not necessarily if people have a question, but create a question for them. Like, hey, have a party coming up, get our rental service. So we cover tables and chairs or something like that, So it depends on the business that you have, is a different way of pushing it out there. Always, start with a question. Make them think whenever you're reading your post copy. Also, it's important to have a graphic that stands out, not with too much writing on it, because people tend not to read. Even when you put the information on the post, they won't read it. I've seen that firsthand. The first comment in the bottom, what time is it? And I was like, if you open the copy, it's right there. But people don't like to read. They like to see pictures. They like to see the video. So also targeted advertisement. Who's your audience? If you're gonna do Facebook ads, you can choose who your audience is gonna be. You can choose who the people you wanna target. If you're gonna sell sneakers, You can target people who like Nike, who like Adidas, people who share interest with shoe sales, people who like shopping, people who you can even target by people who've been to places, like if they've been to the mall, target them. And there's different targeting avenues. I'm just covering Facebook and Google and stuff like that right now, but you can also go into Waze, Spotify, Hulu ads. Everywhere you walk with your phone, you're being tracked with a map, whether you realize it or not. And we use that information to target you while you're driving. We can also do it. I was able to target people, when I was in the restaurant business. Like if they're driving around the Harlingen area, they would get pinged with a cell phone. And if they opened the cell phone, our ad would, jump up onto their phones and be like, "Hey, visit us right now and get a 10% discount," or something like that. So, there's ways to, depending on what software you use, there's ways to target the people that you want. And you spend way less than with TV and ads. And it's also trackable, which is a good thing. You get to see the return of investment. You see the ad, once you click on it, we know that you clicked on the ad. And if you keep going to the website, did you actually purchase something from our app, or did you make a purchase on the website? All of that stuff is trackable. So you can see that your marketing is working. You buy a billboard outside, you don't know if somebody called you from that billboard, or you put your website, like if they visited your website, was it because they saw the billboard? You can't really track those things, but everything online can. So it's, improved engagement and loyalty plays into all that. There you go. Now, how do you create ad campaigns on Facebook, right? This goes a little bit more into the technicality behind it. First, you have to set up a Facebook ads campaign. How do you do that? You have to create an ad account. To have an account, first, you have to create a Facebook account. So you do have to do it through your personal Facebook page. You will go to create an account, create ad account, and you go through the processes that'll, show you. I don't know why it's kind of off-centered, but once you create the ad's going to prompt you to choose what's going to be your message, who's going to be your audience, what's going to be the area that you want to cover with your ad. You're going to have to customize your target audience, what's going to be your budget, and choose your ad placements. Do you want people to see it on Messenger? Do you want people to see it on Instagram or on Facebook? And at the end, you're just going to place your order, right? So examples of an ad, CTA, creating your ad CTA means call to action, sorry. So call to action is call us now, message us now, like our page, book your appointment, learn more, visit our website. Like it's just little things right there. Usually Facebook provides that for you, and they'll create the button itself. That's so you can see the shop now button. There you go. So shop now, learn more. Usually Facebook already gives you those options to kind of help you create the ad. They try to make the process easy for you sometimes, not always. But again, it goes to what's going to be your ad. It's going to be a picture, a carousel. A carousel is various pictures in one, like, maybe 3 pictures. It kind of flows through one side. Also, be authentic. I put be authentic because you can see this company, it doesn't look like a, Photoshop picture or anything. It's literally one of their customers that bought their quilt and they're showing it off, So you get to see actual people, enjoying the product. Sometimes I feel that there's companies that I work with where everything just it's too staged, it's too Photoshop, man. Like it's not a real product. It's not, I like to connect with what I'm seeing, which is why I believe videos are very helpful. But yeah, I mean, if it's clothing, I understand. You got to make the clothes look good, I guess, laid out or whatever. But I'd rather see the joy in somebody's face enjoying the product, Again, who's going to be your audience? Facebook lets you choose. Age is 18 and up. If you're selling alcohol, of course, you're going to have to put that age 25 and above, depending if you're, I used to forget sometimes to do that, and Facebook wouldn't approve the ad, and I would go back and I forgot to set the age to 21 and up. So you got to be careful also. You can't have any political reasons behind it has to follow Facebook's rules, right? I also did marketing for political candidates, and you have to disclose that it's a political ad, and it goes through more scrutiny than stuff, than the usual regular ads. Again, you can target by women or genders, men, language, is it in Spanish, is it in English? Do you just want to target sales since we live in the border, you just want to target this area, or do you also want to market in Monterrey or, Reynosa? So back when I was at State Farm Arena, we ran a campaign which is now Payne Arena, I guess. Yeah, in Hidalgo, yeah. We ran a campaign for the first UFC fight that they were going to bring over here. And we figured that a lot of people from Monterrey would want to see a unique UFC fight. So we did a whole campaign for the UFC fight in Monterrey, so we could, bring people to watch the show from over there. So I mean, that was one of my first experiences years ago with basically geofencing, which is the act of creating a radius of where your ad's going to be run, right? You can, like I said, target by interests. Do they like shoes? Do they like the UFC? Do they like, similar products to yours or stores? What are their behaviors? Behaviors is like, did they make a purchase in the past 30 days? Or did they visit this website in the past couple of days? That goes a little bit deeper into the analytics side of it, but the first couple of ones is more of your demographics. It's kind of like where you will have a good starting point for it, right? Again, you can customize interests, behaviors, and demographics for better targeting results. What I mean by that is better results will be you not spending as much money trying to target somebody and trying to reach out to them. Because there's a thing called cost per click, and Facebook uses a bidding system. So at the end of running your ad, you get a bunch of figures. Here, we're gonna run an ad on a total budget of $5 a day for 10 days. So I'm gonna spend $50 on it, right? And Facebook is giving me more or less an estimate. You're gonna reach about, from 869 to 2,500 people a day. And from those people, maybe you get 9 to 26 clicks. That's just like an example, more I guess round number. So I mean, let's say you're spending $50, $5 a day, right? And you're gonna get 9 clicks a day, maybe from those $5. From those 9 clicks, what's your product worth? Maybe your product you're selling it for 15. So I mean, 1 click already paid for a day if somebody bought something, right? So you kind of start analyzing, maybe I should put more money behind it or less money. I don't need to put that much money behind my marketing. So, you start analyzing the costs. Again, what's your budget? You control it. You can set the dates. You can set the days. You can set how much you want to spend per day. Again, customizable amounts, and you get to track results. You get to see, that people click through. Are people sending you messages? Are people calling your company? Like I said, that depends on your call to action. Are you on Google? If you're not, you don't exist. Google is the easiest, or that's what people go to nowadays. Like if I'm lost or something, I'll Google, look for this place. And it'll show me places either with similar names, similar areas, or the actual place if I put the number of the place. But usually you can put food near me, tacos near me, pizza near me, and the top ranked websites will pop up. That's called SEO. Those websites have good SEO, which is search engine optimization. And it's a term we use to basically cover the keywords that Google's algorithm will be looking for whenever I ask it that question. So I asked tacos near me, it'll take the word tacos and then the data from my cell phone where I'm located, and it'll just kind of scour the web to see who's got the better rankings, and it'll show me the top places on Google Maps. And the way to also stay relevant is, again, by controlling the Google My Business page, which is a free page also, just like a Facebook page is free so far. And it's like all you gotta do is basically take control of it and say, hey, this is my business. The process is usually easy to verify the business. Google will send you a code or will send you an email just to verify that it is you taking control of your business page. Or you can create it if none exists yet. And again, it's the listing, it's like the yellow pages, Google is basically the yellow pages from back in the day. So, to standing out on your profile, what it should have maybe a picture of your business or the person who runs it. Right there you can see that's gonna be the reviews of that business, 5 stars, close to 5 stars. I mean, 5 stars is perfect, but it's really hard to get those perfect 5 stars. Like I said, there could be bots also trying to bomb your business out. But it's important to reply to all those because what Google does is they'll take a look that somebody's replying to those reviews and trying to fix it, or at least that the business is being active about it, so they'll still keep you top on the listing. because they say, oh, this business, you know, they're still in business, they're very active, so it makes sense to keep them on top of the search pile. Make sure you have your phone number, your address, and your times, your hours of operation. If you don't have a basic brick and mortar store, you could have a service area. So let's say you sell, you know, things out of your house, or arts and crafts, paintings and stuff like that. Oh, well, I'll deliver all the way, you know, all the way to Mercedes. So you can create a radius circle around it and just say, you know, advertise me within the Mercedes area. So when people search for it, if they're inside that area, you'll pop up. Like I said, the business profile is free, and you could, you know, personalize it. You could upload pictures also of your work or your products. As you can see, this company does yogurts and botanas, you know, so they have the elote and all that stuff. Post it up. So also that helps people see that what your products are, your services are, and you know, it's easier for them to make a purchase decision when it comes to it. Setting up your profile. Share your business name, your business type. What exactly is it that you do? Is it a food? Is it a spa? Is it, you know, construction services? The address and the service area, again. Is it a brick and mortar? Is it strictly online, but I do deliver here and there? Your operation hours, connected to your website. Now, even if you don't have a website, you can also connect it to a Facebook page. A lot of people do that. I know websites can get expensive if you're not, you know, savvy or not necessarily inclined to open one up. Yes? Yeah, it does. It does build you a basic website, or at least kind of like the Google page thing, right? But well, there's more into websites depending on what you want to do with the business. As far as like getting leads, a lead is, for example, when we did home construction websites, as soon as you visited the website, we get a pop-up, and the pop-up is like, hey, thanks for visiting us. You know, would you give us your email to access our home gallery? So you can scroll through the pictures of the homes, but we had your email already. So because we had your email, we were able to have one of our agents contact you and say, hey, we noticed that you were browsing our gallery, you know, letting you know we're available for a free consultation. You know, so that's a lead, that's a potential customer. So with a customized website, you can do things like that. Have call to actions within that realm instead of also, you know, these are the free sites. This is like the free services you get, but there's not much control from your business on that side, right? There's not, it's not as targetable to throw out messages or newsletters to those people because they're not registered or you don't have them in your database. Again, you know, you post your products, services, phone number, operation hours, basically anything that the person would need to find you or in your business. Look at the Q&A part, so kind of on cue there. Does anybody have any questions or would like for me to dwell deeper? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the local business page. So I'm in a really unique position from a dance studio, and I don't have a brick and mortar space, so I don't sell online services. I actually travel to childcare facilities, and so Google is giving me a really hard time about acquiring it because I don't have, they sent me the postcard with a security code, got it, then they said, now you need to submit a picture of your business, which I don't have. I work out of my home. So do you have any recommendations for how I can circumvent that?
Okay, so the issue was, again, back to not having a brick and mortar store. Right now, Google is going through that process of allowing businesses to upgrade to just having the service delivery area. I just do not have the steps in front of me right now. I would have to definitely look into it. But I'll give you my card, and if you can send me an email, I'll definitely send you an email about it, just to help you out on that sense. Because I know that there is a process that they have for it, but like I said, it's fairly new, so I don't want to give you the wrong answer. Yes. Does anybody else have a question? Yes, ma'am. Oh, we're going to get the other mic. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Jasmine. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know of an inexpensive way to get a website? Because I know like they all run about $250, $300.
I would say inexpensive ones will be like starting off with a Wix site, or what is it, Shopify or Square. One of those, like, it's kind of like template websites, but they kind of help you get started at least. Like, well, if you don't mind me asking, what is going to be the point behind your website, or what are you trying to advertise behind it?
So I'm a massage therapist, and like I mentioned, Google Suites has, when I did the Google, it did that. I do pay for like the recoveryrxmassage.com. To take that, I haven't found anything cheaper than $250 or $300 to actually like get the website, like you said,
Yes.
where I can get leads and stuff like that.
Okay, so you would also want to perhaps have, are you going to use it for bookings?
Yeah.
Like, so, okay. Yeah, so that's a bit more intricate into it, like, you
So
know,
it's
that's
just,
why, yeah.
there's no way around it. I just gotta
Like,
pay
yeah, it's
for
going to
it.
be customizable. Like I said, yeah, it's because the websites are really basic to when you want to just sell your product, but when you're selling a service and you also want to include, setting appointments and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure there has to be some. I just don't know them off the top of my head. But again, I can give you my card, and I will do some research on that. Maybe send you a couple of options.
Awesome, thanks.
Yes, thank you. Any more questions? Yes.
So do you offer any, like, breaks for somebody that's just starting off for business, for marketing? Because I'm doing my own marketing.
Yes, ma'am.
And I would like some advice on my marketing strategy. Do you, because I know you're expensive. You do Mercedes and stuff, so, I know you're way over my league, but do you offer any deals, or do you recommend anybody that could help me?
Yeah, absolutely. If you like, I could sit down with you for free, no problem, for an hour. We can go over your plan and see what I can do, or connect you with somebody who can. I'll give you my card too. Any more questions? All good. Take advantage, guys.
Sorry, I'm a curious person.
It's
Do you
good,
guys
it's
hold
good.
any workshops on how to market?
We possibly could in the future. I mean, through maybe Workforce Solutions, one of the other programs that we have, we might be able to set something like that if we get enough feedback from the community, and that's something that they need to learn. We will definitely put that into the books.
Thanks.
We could possibly find a way. Yes. Everybody good? If everybody wants my card, I'll have some here with me. You can definitely reach out to me. Okay. And yeah, so that concludes my presentation. I don't know if I did good on time or not. But
Julio.
oh, yes.
Like she said, you look expensive, so I know you're expensive, but I'm about to open a business and I would love to have some advertisements. So my question is, if you can start doing the advertisement and then you can teach us, my team, to do it ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
I've done things like that before too. So
Okay, thank you.
It's all about teaching others. Once you have it, it's because yes, you're having a small business. It's hard to manage everything. I get that. And it's good to have a team behind it, but also get the correct education behind it. And like I said, marketing is ever changing. What I said today might not be valid in a couple of months, but it's good to keep learning, keep exploring the options, of course, and staying up with technology. Yes. So, good. All good? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much, Julio. All right, so we got about 10 minutes before our next presenter comes on. We don't want to rush her too much. But for those of you who hung around, you're in for a treat. We saved the best for last. Ms. Pilar Gonzalez, most of you may have heard her. She's a self-made woman, entrepreneur. We're looking forward to her presentation. I saw that she just walked in, so she's very excited to be talking to you. So take some time, get a couple of refreshments really quickly. We're going to let her set up. And we're going to finish this one out with a bang. And then afterwards, we're going to ask you to fill out a survey, then get a bag as you walk out. And then hopefully, we're going to follow up with you guys in a couple of weeks to see if you've taken any of the information, filed for EIN, the bank, anything like that. And again, just always remember that we're here to help you if you need anything or connect to any of these businesses or these motivational speakers that we had today, please let us know. We're going to have it up on our website so you can go back and look at it, and the presentation so you can go back and reference it later. And the video that's been placed on our Facebook Live and YouTube will also be there, and we can rerun it for you, or you can go to it and see it again at a later time. But again, stretch out your legs a little bit. We got Ms. Pilar Gonzalez coming up. We're excited about her. And again, the best for the last, so look forward to hearing from her, and she gets ready for right now. Just give us about 10 minutes to set up. Thank you, guys.
Like the legend of the phoenix, all ends were beginnings. What keeps a planet spinning? The force from the beginning. We've come too far to give up who we are. So let's raise our bar and our cups to the stars. She's up all night to the all night to get some. We're up all night for good fun. We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get lucky. The present has no
Hello. All right. For those of you who got special treat, we got some of those dips by Pilar in the back. So please help yourselves. There's some samples back there along with some sodas. If you haven't tried them, they're delicious. I think she brought a couple of different flavors. Please go ahead and grab some if you and take some home with you. And anybody, you're more than welcome to get some. Please try them out. They are the talk of the town, so please try them out. Mike. All right. So just to let you know, Ms. Pilar Gonzalez is walking around. So if you have any questions about the dip, ask. So if you have any questions, please ask her. If you have questions on how she started on this or what flavors they are, you know, the benefits of it, please, you have her attention right now. She's walking around. Lovely lady in the black, standing up. Help yourselves, help yourselves. Delicious.
My heart says follow through. I might blast my eyes on you, girl. My heart says follow through. But I know now that I'm way down on your line. But the wait and feel is fine. So don't treat me like a puppet on a string. 'Cause I know how to do my thing. Don't talk to me as if you think I'm dumb. I wanna know when you're gonna come. See, I don't wanna wait in vain for your love. I don't wanna wait in vain for your love.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I hope everybody's enjoying those dips. So please give me a round of applause to welcome Ms. Pilar Gonzalez, one of Mission's very own. As her saying goes, if you can dream it, you can live it. A single mother of 3, started off in your home kitchen, am I correct? So inspiration to everyone here. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her. And like I said, the best for last, Ms. Gonzalez. Thank you so much for being here today. There you
It
go.
is my pleasure.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm so excited to be here today with you, sharing my story. I'm very grateful for the invitation, so thank you so much. And well, my name is Pilar Gonzalez, and I am the CEO and founder of Dip It by Pilar, which is a food manufacturing plant that makes dips with a healthy twist. So you try those dips, and they're made out of yogurt. So we also have the vegan option, and today I'm very happy and excited because I'm going to share some of my story with you. And this is something that I love to do all the time, because when you share the story of somebody else that is an entrepreneur by an accident, you get ideas, and that's what we're here for. We're here to support you. We're here to make sure that you go to the right place that you need to go and to achieve your goals. I've seen you before. You're right? You look familiar. So, okay, many people ask me, how do I become an entrepreneur? And I have thought about it in many different ways. And I think I became an entrepreneur because I had necessity to work. I have 3 kids, I got divorced, and I needed to move forward and support my kids. I became an entrepreneur because I have a passion. I became an entrepreneur because I'm curious. I became an entrepreneur by accident, most of all. And I became an entrepreneur because I saw an opportunity. And when I saw that opportunity and I didn't have anything else, I grabbed it. And I worked so hard with it, and I never let it go, and I never will. So it all started when I lost my job. I was a news director for Telemundo. And one day, the company decided to go in another direction, and I ended without a job. And being a news director gave me the opportunity to live a very good life. So when I started looking for a job, I realized that not many people was going to pay me the same. So I didn't want to grab any job because I was accustomed to make money and live well. And so 6 months went by, and my savings went off, also with that 6 months. And then I decided that I needed to do something, and if I wanted to make money enough to live well, I needed to create me an opportunity. I needed to create a job. And so I did. I had a passion for cooking, and I thought, you can open a restaurant, and you can start your own business, and you can work so hard, and you can make all the money that you want. That's what I thought. So I opened up a tamale restaurant. I was competing with the best. Delia's Tamales, which I love, Delia's Tamales. So now looking back, I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, it was horrible. I went past Delia's Tamales, and she has these big lines. And I went to my restaurant, and my mom was there, of course, supporting the daughter. So sometimes being an entrepreneur means taking risk. Sometimes being an entrepreneur, it's making mistakes and learning from them. So I had to sell the restaurant because it was not good. But while I was working at the restaurant, I was making these dips. The dip is a recipe from my family, and an aunt of mine has a store in Victoria, Tamaulipas, and she's been selling these dips for 40 years. And so she taught me how to make the dips, and I was selling them in the restaurant. When I closed the restaurant, because I was a very bad, it was a very bad business for me, the guy that bought it called me. And he was like, Pilar, people is asking about some dips that you sell here, so how can I get them? And I said, well, I used to make them, and I will be very happy to make them to you. And that is how all started. That was like a turning point. So I started making the dips, and because I was going to supply to that restaurant, I went knocking doors around the restaurant. I went to meat markets. I went to tortillerias. I went to Mama and Papa stores, and I was like, well, I have this product. This is my hobby. And if you give me the opportunity, I will love to sell them here. So I had a very good feeling about it because I love it, and it's a very nice recipe. I went to the City of Mission. They gave me the permission to start cooking in my kitchen back in the day when that was possible. I don't think it's possible anymore. But anyways, I start giving demos in the stores, and I have 3 kids, and I took my daughters. My son has already taken off to San Antonio for college, and my 2 daughters were here with me, and I said, you know, we need to stay together, we need to support each other, we need to pull this off, we need to work hard, and I need you to help me. So what we're gonna do is Saturdays and Sundays, we're gonna go to this Papa and Mama stores, and I'm gonna leave you, each of you, in different stores in the morning, and I'll pick you up in the afternoon. Let's make a competition who sells more dips, and at the end, you will be compensated for that. So one of my daughters says, Mom, I'm with you all the way, I'll support you, don't worry, you don't have to give me anything or pay me anything, and I was very grateful for that. My other daughter charged me by hour, plus a commission over every dip that she sold. So I'm happy to tell you that I have an entrepreneur and a scientist in the house. But it was too expensive. It wasn't easy, it was expensive. Because I have to put the dips, I have to buy the chips, I have to pay one of my daughters plus my time. And I realized that I was putting all this money out and I wasn't making enough sales to cover the cost. So I started thinking, what can I do to at least not spend that much? I'm not convincing the entrepreneur not to charge me, so I have to look for another way to do that. And I find this guy, Rafael Pacheco, I don't know if you have heard of him, and he was making chips here in Mission, Texas. So I saw his chips in the store and I called him up and I said, listen, you don't know me, but I make dips and you make chips and I think we're the perfect marriage. Yes. We can work together. You don't have to support me, but you have to give me the chips for free. And he gave me the chips for free. I was doing the demos and the sales started increasing. And Rafa, one night called me and said, Pilar, you know what? There is a contest in the City of Mission. It's called the Ruby Red Ventures. I think they're gonna retake that, by the way. You all entrepreneurs, pay attention. And I need your dips because I want the judges to try them. And this contest was like a Shark Tank. Before you went in front of the judges, you have to take a class. And they teach you how to make a business plan. They teach you how to increase your sales, how to do marketing, how to borrow money from the bank, and how to pay them back. That part is important. So that night he called me and said, Pilar, forget about the chips. They want the tips. You need to go and enter the contest. I didn't want to do that because I have to go to all these classes. But thank God I did because I learned a lot. And I pitched to the judges. I went in front of them and I tell them about the product and I tell them about the passion that I have and I tell them about my dreams and I tell them that I was going to work so hard if they give me the opportunity to make it, that I needed the support, the knowledge, and I needed also, something to drive me to achieve my goals. And yes, I won. They gave me $25,000. And I was with that money going to my house like, yay, I have $35,000 and I don't have to pay them back. But I have to make it work. So I start, feeling like an entrepreneur and I start feeling like I have what it takes to make it. And that gave me the confidence. So immediately I put myself to work and I moved from my kitchen to my garage, and that was huge. You know? And it's true. It's just like the movies, true story. So I moved to the garage. I went to the health department. I told Mr. Noé Barrera, who was the head of the health department back then, you know what? I'm moving to my garage. I have $25,000 and I need to make everything right because I need to achieve this and I need to let the people that voted for me, that have confidence in me, know that I'm going to work hard and I'm going to make them proud. And we designed everything and I start working harder and harder and harder. And one day, the Chamber of Commerce in Mission called me. And they were like, Pilar, there is this contest HEB is having, the Primo Peak Quest for Texas Best. We need somebody to represent us, and we would like to see if you would like to go. And I was like, they gave me $25,000, I have to go, and I have to win. So I applied. I was very nervous. There were more than 700 people across the state of Texas. And suddenly I got this call and they said, you are among the 10 finalists. We need you to come to Houston, Texas, and you need to pitch your dips to our chefs and to our managers and to the people that, you know, directs everything at HEB and the ones that outsource all the things that they sell in there. So I was getting prepared, very nervous. I went there and they send you to this place where they have these kitchens, the ones that you see on TV, and everybody's working, and they give you an assistant. Like the guy was standing by me and I was cooking and making sure that I have everything ready for the presentation, and I look at the guy and I was like, oh my God, I have an assistant. And I'm not paying for that. So anyways, I went there and I pitched it. You know, I said, you know, this is my dips and we've been making it in the family for so long and I need this opportunity. I need to go back to my city and tell them that we made it. And I did my research. And I remember that they all laughed because I finished my presentation like, let me go home a hero, which is the slogan that the HEB used back in the day. So they knew I had made my research. And yes, we won second place. Yeah, woo! And by the way, when I called my family and said, we made it, I won second place. My brother was like, stop working. Just go and compete to every single competition there is in the nation. You don't need to work, you got to compete. So that was so funny. I thought about it, dumb. So anyways, when they told me I had second place, I immediately called Mission, the city of Mission, the chamber. I called El Mission Economic Development Center, and I said, listen guys, we have a problem. I'm making these dips in my garage. I have no idea whatsoever how am I gonna be making this for one of the most important supermarkets in the nation. Even though HEB is only in Texas, they're among the 10 supermarkets more important in the nation, and I was so nervous. So I started knocking on doors. I started asking questions, I started asking for support, and nobody wanted to produce the dips for me because they only gave me 50 stores. And they were like, oh no, 50 stores, no, girl, we're not turning on the machine for you. It's too expensive, forget it. And I was back and forth like, what am I gonna do? I need to find a solution, we have this opportunity, I have to make it work. And I decided to open up my own food manufacturing plant. It seemed super easy, but it's so hard. I promise you guys. In words, it's like, yay! You know, and they said, well, Pilar, your background? Oh no, I dropped from school. I fell in love. I never completed any class. So no, I have no background, but I have a strong will. And I'm willing to go back to school, and I'm willing to learn and relearn the things that I need in order to pull this off. So it took me 2 years, guys, and the support of the whole community. I mean, everybody was like, yes, we're gonna do it, you won, we support you. So the Mission Economic Development Center was behind me, the Chamber of Commerce was behind me, and I'm telling you this because there are a lot of resources out there that are free. There are a lot of resources out there, like in the university, in the governor's office, TMAC, I mean, and there are a lot of entrepreneurs that are willing to guide you and support you and teach you, because it is something like, for me, you know, it's like paying it forward. So I have all these people behind me, supporting me and cheering for me, that I have to make it. So I went to STC and they teach me, they design a class around the machine that I bought. And we all went to training. And at the beginning, it was so funny when the machine didn't work, but 11 p.m. in the evening for the 10th day in a row, it wasn't funny anymore. I wanted to cry, but never quit. So finally, we make it work, and we launched our products 2 years after we won. And 6 months into that, they give me 50 more stores. And after that, they give me a total of 175 stores. And it was great. I mean, I went to see my product and I cried. And I was like looking at it and so proud and so happy. But I mean, that there was more compromise to me. And I needed to work harder to prove that I can sustain myself in the HEB, because you can enter the store, but that doesn't mean you're going to stay there forever. You can enter the store, but if you don't change, if you're not ahead of the game, if you're not watching what's happening around you, you may lose momentum and you may lose your business. And we have seen it with big companies like Sears, JCPenney, Toys R Us. I mean, you have to be aware of what's happening and feel and have the feeling of what is happening. And I used to sit there, and when I saw people buying the dip, I was like, why are you buying that dip and not mine? And asking questions. I saw a lady, I remember, I will never forget, I used to put the date on the dip with a machine, you know, those machines that, with paper. And one day I saw a lady that was looking under a sour cream product, and I approached her and I said, can I help you? She said, yes, I'm looking for the date. And I said, why? And she said, well, it's just my husband and I in the house, and I want to make sure that I find the sour cream with the longest shelf time, because we don't eat too much. So I helped her, I gave her the cream, I went back to the aisle where I was putting my dips, and I noticed that the date has fallen off because it was paper. So I was like in panic. This lady's not going to buy my product because this doesn't have a date. So I went back and buy a machine that now puts the date in there with ink. So I'm just telling the story because it's important that you keep your eye open and that you keep your mind open, and that you realize, and you have to realize, that we're not always right. We made a lot of mistakes, and if we are not willing to listen, we may lose momentum, or we may lose a customer. So after that, and by this time that I was at HEB and I was doing the demos, I was also working 2 jobs because I needed to support all the expenses. Many people were like, why are you here? You're at HEB. And I said, yeah, I need to pay the bills. Same thing. You know, I'm not reaching that yet. I need to, you know, work. And I don't need to believe that I already made it, because if I do that, I will lose my business. So I had to work 2 jobs. I was working on weekends on Channel 5, giving the Spanish news. I was the news anchor, and I was the dip maker, and I was the janitor in the plant, and I was the demo lady at HEB. So I was having all these jobs, and I was learning from all these jobs. And that was the only thing that kept me afloat. Then we had to face COVID. Scary, very scary. But fortunate for me and fortunate for a lot of people that was in different business, I had by then created a board of advisors. A lot of people that was very interested in me succeeding because they behind me, like my banker. I have borrowed money from them and they wanted me to pay them back. So every time I have a question related to money, I have to call them, and they were making sure that I understood what I have to do to get the money, to pay them back. So COVID was a tough time, but surprisingly for us, it was our bestseller. Those 2 years, we were selling like crazy, and I guess it's because people thought they were on vacation for the first months. They went sent home, they were eating more, they were snacking more, and it created a chaos for many people, but for us, it created another opportunity to make sure our customer knew that our product was healthy and good for their system. So it was a great, great proof. So now I just have one job, fortunately, finally, Monday to Friday, and demos on weekends, but it's still with the same company. We do have expand because I cannot only be doing dips, but the machines have to be working as many hours as possible because they need to be producing. And we expanded, and we are co-packing for other companies. We're co-packing for Sandra Salsa, which is another customer for H-E-B, and she is selling her product in the stores across the state of Texas. We are co-packing for I Love Chamoy. I don't know if you have seen them. Oh, great. This lady from McAllen, Texas also came to us, and we helped her put her products at H-E-B. We do consulting too. And she's been a great success. I mean, she's selling like crazy. Now we're at Amazon, we're at H-E-B. She's selling like crazy online. And yesterday, we sent our first pallet to TJ Maxx nationwide. So this is huge. Yes, yeah. And I'm so proud of that because it's a way of us paying it forward for all those that believe in me and in our product. So what I want you to take out today, out of this conversation, it's that you need to keep your eye open and your ears, and you need to pay attention because business and opportunities whisper in the ear. You need to be very careful to keep your costs down. There's a lot of people that prefer to go buy everything new and hire the most expensive because it's the better. I insist a lot in keeping your costs down, preparing yourself, asking questions. One of my favorite parts is surrounding yourself. This is what I do. I surround myself with people smarter than me, people that elevate me, people that challenge me, people that make me increase the bar because I'm learning constantly. And I always tell my friends, if you see me sitting in a table with whoever you see there, most likely it's a brilliant person. And most likely I'm not only enjoying the conversation, but I'm learning everything that they are saying, and I'm applying everything they're saying. Another thing that is very important, if you really want to be a business person, stay humble. Don't you ever think that because you have achieved one thing, like having the dips at the H-E-B, you have already made it. No, that's the beginning of the story. You need to keep on working because guess what? There is Costco, there is Walmart, there is Albertson, there is Kroger, there is co-packing, there is consulting. There are so many other things that I can grow my business. There are so many things that you can grow your business. So it is important to stay humble, keep your eyes open, work hard, surround yourself with people more intelligent than you, and pay it forward. Because if we all do something good for someone else, we will create a wonderful society. We will create a wonderful community. And we will leave our kids and the people that comes behind something good. So if you just keep in mind those things, doesn't matter how big your business will become or how successful you will go, but for sure, you will become a more complete and rounded person. And that, for me, it's like wonderful. So thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you. We weren't kidding when we said save the best for last, right? Give it up again for Ms. Pilar Gonzalez. We have questions? Oh, comments. Hold on. Good things come to those who wait. Yes. So if you know anybody who left early, let them know what they missed. So, great motivation. If you weren't ready to start your business at the beginning, I think a lot of us are probably wanting to get out the door and start doing something right now. So, Ms. Gonzalez, again, awesome. So, with that being said, we're going to finalize it. I have Ms. Shelly Sanchez with the unenviable task of closing out the session today and following Ms. Gonzalez. But if anybody could do it, it's our Deputy Director of Community Engagement, Ms. Shelly Sanchez, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to her.
Thank you, David. And thank you, Ms. Gonzalez, for that very inspiring. I was sitting in the back and you could just hear the amens and the nodding of the heads, and, really inspiring for all of us that entrepreneurship is a journey, right? And so today, for all of you who are attending, the speakers that we had, it was very important for us to bring you people that are from our community that have had success. They have walked in your shoes, and they have, in essence, gone through those challenges of how to get there, right? So we've heard about if a door closes, you open one up. I love what Ms. Gonzalez talked about, because I've always heard, if you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room, right? We have to be open to continuous lifelong learning. That is going to help you as an individual. It's going to help you as a professional, and you being here is an attestament to that. So I do want to congratulate all of the aspiring entrepreneurs. So I'd like to give you a hand for being here for the duration and learning from a lot of our experts and people who have contributed of their time and passion on paying it forward. So just a round of applause for you. Thank you. And David is correct. Ms. Gonzalez is a very hard act to follow. You can hear the passion in her voice. I would be remiss if I did not thank our team. You see Mr. Gutierrez here, our WAS team and student hire navigators. Elizabeth, come on out here. We have staff who are so committed to community, and they work tireless, honestly, to coordinate, to partner, and they're up late hours of the night working on bags, and every little detallito, as Ms. Gonzalez might say, is all for you. These individuals right here, Julio, Roland, Danny, everybody, Guadalupe, stand up. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Roland, Irene, these individuals do deserve recognition because they believe, we believe in you. So we are looking forward to seeing your success and seeing you on your journey. As we talked earlier, and Ms. Pilar talked about this, there are resources available to you, right? We don't know it all on our own, but we do want to connect you with resources to ensure your success as an entrepreneur. So on behalf of myself, thank you, all of you, for impacting people every day. And on behalf of my CEO, Francisco Almaraz, and our board of directors, we certainly want to thank our partners, the Greater Chamber of Mission, Chamber of Commerce of Mission. And again, just know that we are here to support you on your journey. So with that, we bid you farewell. We hope you enjoyed today's session. We hope you learned more than when you came in. And just know that this is not the end of our relationship. We are here to support you. And so that concludes our session for today. Did I miss anything, David? Okay, so Workforce Solutions does host these events usually once or twice every year. We do want you to keep a lookout for future events. Every single event is customized and really unique to what we do. But before you end today, there is a survey. It's very important for us to get your candid feedback. I always tell the team we take the good, the bad, and the ugly because that is what's going to help us improve and ensure that we give you quality events moving forward. As you are leaving, you will be getting a bag with some information, resources, and equipment and tools that you would be using as a potential entrepreneurs, and that's a way of us thanking you and also preparing you for the journey. I do see these young ladies back here, C2 staff. They help us every day document all of this. So if you have a moment and want to share your success story with them, we'd be happy to take that. But I do appreciate they're usually behind the camera, but they're the ones who make us look good every day. So just want to recognize the ladies' work as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Okay, I know somebody had questions regarding marketing when Julio was up there. Earlier, we did talk a little bit about metrics learning, right? And on metrics learning, there is a whole series of classes on marketing and digital skills. Those are free to all Texans. So if you are interested in continuing your learning, continuing to expand your knowledge to promote your business, those classes are free online. So that was available to you. It's also available on our website. As a follow-up, we'll make sure to post that. But that's one of those free resources. It's not just marketing skills. There's information on Microsoft. There's information on Google Suites, communication, professional marketing. So there's an array of learning tools that are available at your fingertips. So thank you again. Have a wonderful evening and good luck to all of you on your journey.